is up, everybody? Michael here. Welcome back to another podcast edition. I am loving these podcasts, guys. Welcome back. And tonight, I have a very, very special episode. Normally, when I do podcasts, I like to talk about technology as you guys watch my channel, Tech, UFC. Well, tonight we're going to go a little different. Tonight, I'm going to go into the realm of theme parks. Now, why theme parks? Well, I love theme parks. I'm a theme park guy. I grew up in Universal Orlando. That's probably my third home. So I want to kind of take this video to dedicate it to theme parks and how much it influenced me. But I'm not doing it alone. For the first time ever, I am honored and privileged to work with a YouTuber who is all theme parks. A YouTuber who has made me feel much more appreciation whenever I step into an attraction. Just by listening to his videos and listening to how he describes it in details makes so much more appreciation every time I go on a ride. And this YouTuber is one of my favorites at the moment and will continue to be a favorite every time I go to theme parks and will always be a favorite in my mind. I am, of course, talking about the one and only Theme Park History, the channel that has to do with theme parks, big and small, old and new. Theme Park History, welcome to the channel.
That is an intro. I am smiling at that intro. That is awesome. Thank you for having me. Just the fact that you feel like Universal's your second home or third home, I feel like we're the same, because that's how I kind of feel. But thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be here.
And the honor is of course all mine. And thank you once again for agreeing. Not many people agree to do this kind of stuff, because sometimes they think I'm BSing and they think that, but it's all good now. You're here. And guys, let's just say this has been one hell of a ride. This should have been a ride by its own, trying to get this thing to go along. It took a while.
Well, it was just planning, we were trying to plan it the whole time. I'm trying to get, when are you available? When am I available? We have something planned, something comes up. That's life. That's just how it works. But you know what? Like you said, we're finally doing it. We're here, and we're going to talk for a bit about theme parks and technology.
Exactly. So tonight's video, guys, I keep saying video. Tonight's podcast is something a little different. So originally when I agreed to do this collaboration with Theme Park, I had originally told you I wanted to do an interview. But then I saw you make video that did my job for me. The special 30,000 subscriber Q&A, the Q&A 25K.
Yeah, 25K Q&A, only because it rhymed. That's the only reason we called it. Only because it rhymes.
Well, you did my job for me, but it's okay because I thought of something different. And I bet probably people have not done this type of video talking about this. So as I said in the beginning, I am an all-tech YouTuber with a little bit of sports and stuff here and there. But this is my first time diving into the realm of theme parks. This won't be a thing I will be doing all the time. This will just be once in a blue moon. But with you, of course, if you are willing to come back, obviously. But we'll talk about that later on. But like now, let me explain what we're going to do. So originally I said, how am I going to change this? How am I going to make this interesting? And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Why don't we just combine the two? Theme park and technology. We're living in a world where everything is run by computers almost. It's gotten to the point where computers can do the jobs of humans, and it's kind of gotten to the point where your iPhone is pretty much your Mac now. So I said to myself, okay, so we are here talking about theme parks and technology, but what can we do to kind of make it more interesting and actually make it more fun? So I sat along, and today I thought about it, and I finally got it. We're going to discuss the future of theme parks, concept and ideas that involve artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and other examples and things of technology related to talk about if theme parks are going in this direction, can we see these advancements in years to come, and most of all, if there are any concepts or any ideas of this technology being implemented. So just by that description, how do you feel?
I feel that's actually a pretty good representation of what theme parks are becoming. When you look at the last, 5 to 10 years and how advanced these theme park rides and shows have become, let alone the technology at the parks themselves, especially with something like Disney and their Magic Band. It's the way that the parks are working, especially when you're looking at it where they have all these people coming to their parks. They need to have technology that makes these attractions running day in and day out without any downtime. Because obviously, you go to a park like Disneyland or Magic Kingdom, you could be waiting 3 hours for an attraction if it's down. So technology's come a long way, and it still needs to. And it's a pretty good topic to talk about.
It is. And you know something? With the dawn of animatronics and life-size props being done away, in a way, not being the centerpiece of rides, it's kind of important to also refer back to them whenever we do kind of videos like this. We always refer to animatronics and life-size sculptures, everything physical before computers came. Now, you have covered on your channel a lot about animations and also physical rides, and you have touched upon a few computer rides like The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, which is my favorite video. I gotta say, I watch it every time. That is like my number one because it is. But
thank you.
But the thing that I want to talk about tonight, we're going to get right into it as soon as I finish this epilogue. Jesus, this is a long one. George Lucas thought he was making big ones when he did Star Wars. But the idea is to kind of... This is not really a confirmation video, but this is just a wild card, a what-if scenario, but it could happen somewhere along the way. Because as you've seen, Apple and other companies are growing with something called ARKit, augmented reality, with the advancement they've done with 3D scans of actual physical images that are not there but can be presented to look like they are. So we're going to talk on that. We're going to talk on the future of theme parks in general. And also, I want to make it clear, this doesn't just go for Disney, Universal. It can go for any theme park as well. But the main ones we're going to refer to is Disney and Universal, since those are the big two. You could look at Six Flags, but they're just not there yet. They're more of a traditional, and you can look at other places like Wet n Wild, SeaWorld, but they're just not there yet. Those are more physical. So we're going to focus on the two revolutionary parks tonight of Universal and Disney. So it's not limited to anyone. So let's get right into it. So the first thing, as I mentioned, augmented reality. Now, I don't know if you've used any of Apple's AR kits or anything or seen it, but AR kit basically uses the camera of your iPhone, or any phone for that matter, and can project an image, and you probably know this, but it just projects an image that's not there, but in a 3D landscape. So with theme parks going for more computer styles, the question I was thinking, and I'll ask you this, could you see AR be a part of any of the theme parks when interacting with guests? When attractions, let's say, are huge in lines, you could pull out your phone, interact with the queue? Or could you see this being a part in an actual ride itself with a 3D hologram of an AR, augmented reality figure?
Well, the AR concept, I think, and I'm not completely 100% sure on it, I know Universal did something at their parks a while ago for Jurassic Park. They had some type of event where the dinosaurs had gotten loose and people can download an app and search the entire area for dinosaurs and capture them, put them back in their cages. So, at least I know for Universal they've teased something like that. But I like that concept where you've mentioned AR in the queue. Because in the past you've had interactive features with the queue. You could do certain things to activate special effects while you're waiting online. Lately we've seen at Universal and Disney interactive queues, virtual queues, where you're not standing on line, you take a time, you can search the entire area, certain things happen, or you just come back whenever you feel like it, when your time it's ready to ride the attraction. I actually like that concept of an AR queue a lot. I won't be surprised if we see something like that in maybe 5 years. Kind of makes sense for that, especially in a park like Disney, with all the amount of people they might be getting because of the new Star Wars land. But for AR for an attraction, I never actually thought about that. You could implement it, I guess, but the question, I guess, ends up being how do you take that AR figure, that 3D figure you mentioned, and have it that guests are able to see it? It depends on the attraction itself, right? Mm-hmm. Because if it's more of a thrill ride, I don't know how you can do that unless they're having some type of headset that sees it that way. Mm-hmm. I think, honestly, it can happen, but I think, and it's not getting off topic, but AR is going to be the future for some of the parks for certain events, I think. Mm-hmm. I think it's more of a looking at VR. It's the rumors I've heard lately, and you've seen it in some of the smaller parks where they're putting VR headsets on people to make a more immersive experience for the attraction itself.
Yeah, I've done actually at Six Flags, Attack of the Gargoyles. They gave us VR kits. I've experienced that. But I can see AR actually being a key role in certain rides. I agree with you on that. It can be done, but the question is, how can they pull it off? And I think there is one way they could pull it off. It doesn't have to be the whole ride. It could be a certain queue or a part in the ride. And it could be a projector. Like I don't know if you've seen, but they did a 3D holograph of a replica of the rapper Tupac and Eazy-E. I don't know if you've seen
that.
So
yeah, he was doing a performance or something
exactly
like that, right, a while ago.
Yeah, and that's kind of along the lines of AR, but it's also a hologram. It's an actual hologram, but the idea that they can probably, like the Mummy, when they go up to the ramp and you see the Mummy's face, if they were to take an AR version of the Mummy, and let's say you see his whole presence, not just with the fog, because I know they do it with a trick as well with the light, but if they actually put his actual face there, now obviously you probably need something to see it, but there are cameras that can support this, like actual bigger lenses. So if they were able to project it and make it look as if it's right there, that could be one way. Like rides that are acceleration, I think could work with AR. I also think AR could work as in the queue. So for example, Universal's Nintendo Land. They have been rumored that since Nintendo and Universal are working together, they will be using Pokemon Go app in the park to play Pokemon Go as an AR game. Okay. They are rumored to have a kart, a Mario Kart, a rumored Mario Kart, but they are saying that if in the queue when you're at the castle, you can actually use the Nintendo app, but they haven't done this isn't confirmed, but you can go into the app and you can play mini games in AR while you're around the park, immerse yourself. So I think...
Yeah, well...
go ahead.
You know, depending on when that park opens, they're probably going to need that because those wait times are going to be ridiculously long to go on the attractions.
Even Fast Pass won't save you.
True.
So I think AR can possibly be pulled off. But the question is, another question, now this falls in, which park can achieve this technology first? And I want to say, I think Disney would, and I'll explain why. Now, Disney, in my opinion, as much as I love Universal, I have to come to terms that Disney will always be bigger. It's bigger in scope, scale, size, and everything. While Universal, in my opinion, has better rides, Disney has a better layout and a better way. Now, Disney hasn't been fully immersed into 3D rides as of yet. Their most recent, I believe, is the Pandora Air of the Avatar ride, the Pandora.
And Rite of Passage shot. I think that's correct.
Yes, and that is, to my knowledge, the only one at the moment. And also Toy Story as well. So there's two.
Right.
But the way that they did the 3D ride of Pandora, the world of Avatar, the way they were able to make a 3D screen, not just sitting in a cart separate, they were able to take like an IMAX projection, almost like Flight, but make it in a way where you feel you're not... Like, I'm not saying Universal did it bad, but I'm saying they were able to kind of expand on it. Disney was able to say, okay, what are the things that people don't like about sitting in a cart with just 8 people? What if we were able to get more people to get the ride going? I feel like they were able to expand. So I think Disney could pull it off quicker because also they are partnered with Apple. So Apple is the leading industry. Now, that is the main focus, obviously. Apple is the main for AR kit. And I don't think it's just Apple either. There are other companies like Google and other people. But when you look at Disney's track record, Disney has membership and also deals and plans regulated with these companies. Disney is one of the biggest companies in the world. They own almost everything. Think of it like Thanos with all the gauntlets just waiting to acquire more. So I think Disney could pull it off first, but the question is when and how. And right now, but even before I even get into Disney, I got to admit something. We got to just get this off the case. Disney is starting to decline, but not in the way that you think. In the terms of ownership in the park, the lack of craftsmanship. Now, all my friends have gone to Disney, and they have said that they don't like the system that is built. They don't like the way it operates. Like, the tram ride will break down. Like, the tram from the hotel will break down. They're not using updated stuff. The Fast Pass is a joke. Even though it's good that it's free, you don't find out until you're in the park, and you can't get any rides if you're lucky. And they just don't like the way it's operated, so I think that's where Universal kind of takes the cake for me. But before we even get into that stuff, that'll come later. Let's just get back to what's on topic. Who can achieve this technology? Now, to you, who do you think can achieve it?
Well, I do agree with you because of that Disney-Apple relationship that many people probably don't know exists. Unless you really pay attention to what Apple's done and Disney has done. I won't be surprised if Disney does bring it to their parks. But you do bring up a good point. With Star Wars Galaxy's Edge coming up, we don't really know, outside of the Marvel editions at Disneyland and their other parks, what's the next big expansion that can use that?
That's the partnership right there, just showing. And
right
guys,
there.
if you can't see, I'm showing him an Apple Watch with the interface of Toy Story, so that's part of the partnership, allowing them to use Disney characters. And Steve Jobs founded Pixar.
Wasn't he part of the board as well at one point?
He was part as well.
So there's a past relationship there that I don't know how many people actually know about unless you do a lot of research where you know the people behind it. But I guess they could bring it, but the question is, what do you have for it? And I guess the one thing off the top of my head that I always thought would be really good for what you're describing is, where's a Wreck-It Ralph attraction that would use AR? I feel like that might be the first implementation of it, and it would actually work out pretty well.
Especially when think so, yeah.
Yeah, video games and everything like that, Wreck-It Ralph, destroying stuff. That's my first thought off the top of my head, where I say, like, yeah, that technology there, with that type of attraction, where at least that IP, they blend well together. And then, not that they're doing it, but another one would be Tron. Tron's like, that one would be probably, in my opinion, the one you go with. Mm-hmm. But we know they're building a Tron coaster, so I don't know how many more Tron attractions we'll actually be getting anytime soon.
Yeah. As in terms of Tron, there is not a lot of news about it, but I do know it will kind of be similar to the one in China, I think, or Japan. I forgot where it's located.
Okay.
It'll be similar in style, but it will have a more different approach in terms of the story and also how you ride the ride.
Okay.
But
because I know, like, the one, I think it's in, don't hold me to it because I haven't checked. I think it's Shanghai that has it.
Me either. I can't really, I can't say for myself.
But it's like you're literally like it looks like you're leaned over in the light cycle, which is pretty cool in itself. But I don't know how many people at Magic Kingdom want to be hunched over like that the entire time.
Yeah, I agree. So I 100% agree with that. So that, I think, will cover the technology aspect. So now let's get into now part 2 of the future of the parks. So we look at Universal, and I gotta say something. I love Universal. I've told you it's like my third home. You can agree?
I could, definitely.
Yeah, well, as much as I like to say that, I have to admit, Universal's gotten a lot lazy. And I'll explain why. Not just because of that, but there is more to be said. The most obvious, obviously, is the layout of the rides. Obviously, that's the most in plain sight. For example, Skull Island Reign of Kong was the rehash of the Universal Studios 3D rides. Then you've got the Fast and Furious, which could have actually expanded more, had something going for it, but it just rehashed everything. And then you look at Jimmy Fallon, which I could let slide, because that was new, and it actually had a nice story to it. It was funny. But then you look at rides that are good, but they just don't look like they've been taken care of. And what do I mean by that? Well, I went into the Simpsons ride. I've been on it many times. My main issue with the ride is the graphics. It's not the coaster layout and everything. I understand it's a deal with Fox, and now that Disney owns this dealership, we may not be seeing that. And I'll explain more in just a second. But the whole ride still looks like it's dated back in 2009, when it first opened. And to me, the queue and the whole layout, now I know it was Back to the Future setting, that's what they basically built it off of, but they really didn't take, like, as you go on it now, if you've gone back, it kind of just feels like it's stuck in the 2009 realm. And the same could be said for, there was another ride, no, not Revenge of the Mummy, Men in Black. Now, Men in Black is a great ride. I don't dislike it, I actually enjoy it, but it is still stuck in the time zone of the first 2 movies. Now, I'm not saying the 2 movies were the worst. I love the 2 movies. But Men in Black has started to become not the big franchise that it once was. But with the hopes of this reboot, I can already see where it's going. They didn't bring back the original cast. But besides the point, they don't seem to take care of their older rides and kind of refurbish them. They only did that with Hulk, Spider-Man, and I believe E.T. Those are the 3 ones that they always love to take care of, because those are like the 3 jewels of the park. But when it comes to small things, like redoing the graphics for The Simpsons, or Men in Black, updating the internals. Now, I know that you said in your videos they were cutting down cost when they were doing the aliens. Well, don't you think they have enough money to put a few more aliens in there, put the lights on? Because when I go into the queue and I'm walking around, it's so dull. And I was like, you guys cut cost when you built it, but now you have all this money, so put a few more things, make it a little more brighter and stuff. And just those kind of little things. But the main aspect is this whole push for screens. Now, I have no problem with screen rides. I think that they're enjoyable if they're done right. For example, Spider-Man was done perfectly. The Skull Island Reign of Kong, while I'm not a big fan of it rehashing it, it was done good in a way where it was a first of its kind to introduce a kind of ride like that. So I can let that one slide. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. These are examples of screens that were done right. But what Harry Potter does, in my opinion, and I'll let you talk in just a second. I know I'm going on too long.
Take time, no rush.
But the thing that Harry Potter did was it was able to combine real props and things from the movie, not actual movie, but like set pieces and things to interactive instead of just relying on screens. Now, obviously, the Quidditch match and things like that, you had to go screen. And the Escape from Gringotts did the same thing. You see the banks, you see the vaults. It's an immersive ride. It's a roller coaster and a 3D ride. So, with these recent rides coming out, and they're just taking the same layouts, it kind of makes you wonder, where's the originality? Because I don't see Universal... I see some originality in some of it. I can't say there's none. But when it comes to the overall ride, they're just borrowing what Hollywood did. And I thought that that's what Universal Orlando wasn't going to do. Borrow from their other studio. Make things different. So that every time you go to the other parks, it's a different experience. But in this rate, it looks like that's what they're doing. Now, I could be wrong. But I want to know, do you think that that's where Universal's heading? Or they got some tricks up their sleeves?
Well, I'm going to agree with you on most of that. But I'll ask you, do you think there's some irony there that while The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, when it opened up in 1999, was amazing, that the reality is that also hurt the park going towards the future at that point? Because like you mentioned, all those attractions, after Spider-Man came out, and everybody loved it for its screens, its 3D, it's a simulator, it's something new and unique. Mm-hmm. Universal kind of just relied so heavy on that. It was kind of like, then you saw Shrek, screens, 3D. You saw Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoon Blast, screens. And then you've seen, Back to the Future with screens, but that was beforehand. But it seems like after Spider-Man came out, they realized, we have something really good here. Why don't we just milk it dry until people get really sick and tired of the same type of 3 things we offer at our parks? It's kind of a big problem.
Yeah.
But I agree with you with the lack of updates and refurbishments to their older attractions. Men in Black is kind of the one that sticks out the most to me because the animatronics don't look as good. The attraction kind of does feel dated. But we're talking about an agreement between Universal and Sony. We don't know if they have any options to update the attraction, if we're going to see it switch over to Men in Black International or not. But I feel like that's always been a problem, including The Mummy. The Mummy, people have told me, the flames don't work anymore. Half the special effects in the attraction don't work anymore. And I don't know if that's Universal saying, we just don't care, or we realize that it costs a lot of money to get those effects running and we just don't want to spend it. I don't want to say they don't care, but I do agree with you. There was at one point from, I guess, 2003 to 2007 where both parks were kind of struggling in general until, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened up at Islands of Adventure. Mm-hmm. But we talk about, like, they're relying so heavy on screens that they kind of realized with Fallon and Reign of Kong and especially Fast and Furious Supercharged, they kind of went back and said, our bad. We're now going to give you a Harry Potter roller coaster with no screens, animatronics, special effects, things you've never seen in an attraction. And then we're getting now the rumors being a Jurassic Park roller coaster. Mm. So I kind of realized that maybe they might have realized that for certain attractions and certain IPs, it's not worth spending the money because it's not as popular. But they know Potter makes them a boatload of money. So why not give them a really good attraction? We know Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, whatever your feelings on it, still made a lot of money at the box office. Hence why you're seeing Hollywood's version become Jurassic World. And you're seeing transition over at Islands of Adventure. So it's hit and miss. I think the litmus test is going to be, what do we get with Super Nintendo Land? We know it's going to be a majority of screens because it's video games and that's how it's going to be. But can they do something new, unique, and innovative? You mentioned Forbidden Journey. that is the perfect blend of screens, props, and set pieces, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a unique ride system with the Kuka arm. Hasn't been used in a theme park before, where at least to my knowledge it wasn't used. It's a fun and exciting attraction. If they can do that again with Nintendo or something from their new park, I have faith in them. But I feel like we're going to see... I want to see a 50-50 split between attractions that are nothing more than screen-based simulators and then massive mixes like the Forbidden Journey was.
I agree. And you know something? You definitely had a few points that stuck out for me when you said that if we could get the perfect balance, 50-50. And you said how Universal says, okay, we messed up. We're sorry. We're going to give you these things. But there is something you need to know. With the Harry Potter coaster, they're going to need screens for a certain part in the ride when Hagrid's there. Because this theme of the Forbidden Journey is going to rely on Hagrid taking you into the forest. So you're going to need at least a piece or two of screen. Now, I do know, originally I was trying to get another YouTuber to help us with the layouts of the park. Her name was Alyssa Stella. Theme Park Stop by Alyssa Stella. I tried so hard to contact her. She just not would respond to me. And I wish she was here because she could have given us a better insight of what the track layout. So I'm just going to have to, go off the top of my head and don't, penalize me for it. But the ride is supposed to be a 90% coaster with a 10% screen, only at certain moments. So that's fine. But the thing that I'm going to ask you, to which I retort, the question to everybody is, once you've gotten so many screens on a ride, is it even worth waiting in line to see? Depending, now before you answer, I will give an example. I went to Universal 3 weeks ago. When I was in Florida, I messaged you. I went to the Fast and Furious Supercharge. Now the ride was broken down for a good half of the day, and it was still brand new, but I said, okay, they'll get it up and running, and I bet this line will go. Would you like to know the wait time?
Are we doing over and unders, or am I just picking a number?
Just pick a number. It's below 100.
45 minutes.
Nope. Lower.
15 minutes.
Close.
10 minutes?
10 minutes. And I'll tell you why. That is Universal's brand new attraction built up on Fast and the Furious. But I'll tell you why. People I watched were walking the strip. They said, and I heard somebody say, let's go on to Fast and Furious. You know what they said? Nah. And they explained why. They said, because at Islands of Adventure, it's the same ride. Although obviously it's a different theme. But This is what I'm talking about. Universal took things from their own park when they had the opportunity to make their own thing. Now, obviously, they want to save money, and the best way to save money is by borrowing. But in a way, though, it kind of shows you're going lazy. Not in a whole way, but in a way. Because you're relying on something that made one park famous. You're relying on something that a park in Hollywood Studios is known for, the Hollywood Tram. Now, you did the whole story, you did add a few new things just to help tie it in. But once you leave that story, you can easily see it was part of the Hollywood Tram. Because when that girl Alice gets pulled in from the Sarlacc pit, whatever it's called, the mud pit, whatever she's in, and you all of a sudden transition into greens, you're kind of thinking to yourself, you're like, how did we go from a pit to grass?
Right.
So the point I'm trying to make is I understand where you're coming from, and I 100% agree with what you said before. But I just want you to get an idea that people are catching on. That's what's going on, not just in the parks, but in technology in general. With all of Apple, and now you've seen, Apple's gone on a decline. The reason is because people are saying, look, we don't need the stuff that you're giving us because the stuff we have already is good enough. Now, in the case of this ride, it's just one ride, but the idea that it's brand new, it came out. When did it come out? This summer? Last summer?
I believe it was last year. Early, like April, May last year.
Exactly. It's not even been a year. Now, obviously, Skull Island Winter Kong is still popular. Its times go up to 60, 75. But I've checked this ride 1 week. I did it when I was in Florida. The wait times would range from 10 minutes to 45 minutes max. And I said to myself, this is a brand new ride. Everybody should be wanting to ride this, but people are being smart. They're saying, look, we've already been through this. Why should we go again? So the point I'm trying to make is people are waking up. And that's what probably draws them to Disney. Now, I'm not saying that's 100%, but if Disney has something that they can offer that's different, people are going to jump at it.
Well, right, you bring up a good point, and this goes back to why people really liked Universal back in the 90s when it opened. Every attraction, whether it be Jaws, Kong, or Earthquake, were all different in their own way. Different ride system, different story. It felt different and unique. Every Back to the Future, they're all different type of rides. You get on something, it's never the same. Like you just mentioned, you go to Universal Studios Florida now, and everything's kind of the same. Like I said, simulator, screens, 3D. The only difference is what's the IP behind it. That's how it ends up being. But I want to ask you, because I haven't gotten a chance to experience it myself.
Yeah, go ahead.
What'd you actually think of Fast and the Furious? I've heard so many things, but I haven't spoke to anybody who actually went on it. You actually were able to go on it? What was your take on it?
Okay. So, I'm going to be blunt. I don't like to sugarcoat anything, but I'll give an honest review. I like the queue. I thought the queue was nice. It showed off cars. My dad and I were on it. He was able to tell me things that he knew about cars, and it was amazing to see it. The music was nice. I like the fact that they were able to tie in the movies, but they didn't really bring up Paul Walker as much. There were a few moments, but we obviously know what happened. So, And the thing that I liked the most was when you got to the room and they were talking to the actors. Now, I said, okay, you got actors that are working in Hollywood right now, making movies. They had time to do this. That's really cool. But that, as soon as you leave that room, is where everything drops. You are then brought into a queue of a party bus, and you're like, wait a minute. Wasn't that on Skull Island Raid of Kong? But just with fancier lights. Now, there are some references to previous rides, like Disaster with Dwayne Johnson on the screen. That's a nice reference. I like that.
Nice.
But when I was on the ride, it wasn't as epic, and it was like a lacklustering. And the reason I say that, is because the ride ultimately, it's just moving. You're supposed to be on this action. You're supposed to be on this action-packed ride where Vin Diesel's jumping on the ride. You're supposed to feel gunshots, water, and stuff. Yeah. But I'm sitting in there and everything's going on around me, smoking sewer. But I'm there going, what is this? This is supposed to be a ride where you're supposed to be shook and stuff. What is this?
Not really that Fast and Furious.
Yes, basically. It is not even furious.
I could spend the rest of this time just going into Fast and the Furious. I don't want to. People ask me to do that. But I say this. I know it's a mediocre ride. I know it's not great by any standards because, like you said, they took something from the Tram Tour and they didn't improve on it in any way. At least with Skull Island.
Wait, 1 second.
Got a very nice...
There's one thing I do want to say before. Even though I had a bad experience, I will tell you. My opinion means nothing because you're your own person. I may say what I think, but to you it could be different. So if anyone was to ask me, and you're probably going to say it, but I would recommend you to go ride it. Just to experience it yourself.
Yeah. Listen, if you're going to be at the parks, you shouldn't just let what people on the internet tell you. Just go on it. And then you say, man, they were right. This ride's not that great. I've seen people who have said, just because some people online have said it's a terrible ride, when I go to the park for the first time, I'm not going to go on the ride. And you're spending all that money to go to the park.
Yeah,
go on the ride. If it's 10 minutes, what's it going to do? It ain't going to kill you.
Yeah. You get the chance to rest up. You sit down, relax. Well, you don't sit down, but you just relax, get a nice air.
Listen, that's what I was about to say. All the buildings are AC. If it's a really hot day at Universal, if you got 10-minute wait time, just go on the ride. It's not going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to that, I don't think, from what I've seen and I've heard, yes, it's a mediocre ride. It doesn't piss me off about that. It's lazy execution, like you mentioned. You take something from the Tram Tour, which wasn't, highly praised as it was, and instead of expanding on it, making it new, unique, and exciting like you did with the original attractions when you first opened the park in the 90s, it's the same thing. It's rehashed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, what makes me aggravated is, yes, Disaster, Earthquake, whatever you want to call it, It was 3 pre-shows and a 2.5-minute experience. I still thought that was better.
Mm-hmm.
You closed Beetlejuice. I thought that was a pretty good show. You closed 2 attractions that weren't bad for something that is mediocre.
It teaches you, though, the 2 rides they closed down, you're probably referring to Twister and Disaster.
No, well, Disaster and Beetlejuice.
Disaster and Beetlejuice, okay.
Yeah. So, like for myself, again, as somebody who's gone to the parks a lot, I always enjoyed those attractions. So for them to replace 2 for 1 mediocre, that doesn't bring anything to the table new from Hollywood, was it really worth it? And then the thing is, you said it opened last year. It's supposed to open the same year Fallon did in 2017, but it was delayed a year.
Mm-hmm.
Why was it delayed? How hard was it to bring that to the park? I don't know. It's just one of those things where you go, it's just terrible execution by Universal to bring something that they thought was popular. And like you said, even after a couple of months, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, it's not a good sign for your attraction, you know?
Exactly.
Just in general with that park now, I feel like there's stagnation because everything is a similar ride. We got to have screens. We got to have, you're in a bus, you're in this. It's simulators. It's one scene to the next. It doesn't feel like it's new, unique. I'll still go to the park. I still love the park, but
yeah,
it's like I'm in no rush. I haven't gone since 2015. I'm like, Fallon ain't interesting. Skull Island looks cool, but once I saw it, I'm like, I'm not missing anything. And then Fast and Furious, I'm like, no way I'm taking vacation time to go down there to hang out with Vin Diesel or whatever, you know?
And let's be real here. Vin Diesel hasn't grown a hairline since God knows how long, so we ain't going to see that anytime soon.
Hey, we won't. Listen, and the new movie coming out this summer doesn't even have him involved. They know what's popular now. So.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and the question ends up being, how much longer does that franchise have?
I don't think it's got much to go because with the death of Paul Walker, it was a tragic loss. But to see how much of an impact he had on the movies, when you watch Furious 8, Fate of the Furious, you can kind of see how much he impacted. Even though he may have been a minor character, he was still important. So I think Universal, even though I don't think they should give up on it, I think that they shouldn't be using that as their bank or cash grab.
It's amazing because I remember the first movie because I went to see it. They were stealing like DVD players out of the back of a truck. Now there's like submarines and all this other crazy stuff that goes on. It's like where did they go from that in like 2001 to what we have now in Hobbs and Shaw in like 2019?
Thank you. Somebody understands. I was like, where did it all go? Thank you.
Listen, I get it. You got to change with the times, but it's like, come on, submarines and stuff like this. What's going on? You know, I get it. You're supposed to turn off your brain for a couple hours and enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm like, this ain't real. People are gonna try to do this in real life, and they're gonna realize you can't.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's Universal, and now, so far we're doing pretty good. Are you bored yet, man?
No, I'm not. Listen, we could talk about theme parks or anything in general for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I always have time.
I know.
So.
It was getting late, but we're going to keep going. I don't have any plans to slow down just yet. So let's get into the next thing as the future of theme parks. There will be 4 parts, and then we'll do a bonus segment. Every time I do a collab, I have a little bonus segment. So the third part we're going to go into now. We're going to go into little Disney now. So we focus a lot on Universal, but we've mentioned Disney here and there, but let's give a little section dedicated to them. So Disney has been rumored, since they're doing very good, but I've already told you about the problems that they're having with the CEO of the park. I don't know if you've known this, but the CEO has been really heavily, or not the CEO of Disney, but the CEO that owns Disney World, Disneyland, the guy in charge of the parks. They're not satisfied with his work, and it kind of shows. From his making of Stitch, A Great Escape, to closing, to kind of giving us lackluster features in Disney World, to incredible, like unbelievable prices. It kind of almost makes you don't want to go there. But there are some rumors going around. Now, I don't like going into rumors because we don't know if they're true, but that's obviously what I gotta do because that's my channel. Some of them are eventually confirmed, unless you're Samsung and leak your stuff on purpose. But there are talks of Animal Kingdom getting a little expansion. Now, this involves the future because as much as I love Animal Kingdom, and I think Animal Kingdom is my favorite park of the bunch because of the Pandora experience, I have to admit the concept of them trying to expand it should go on. Now, I've watched your video again of Dinosaur, and And I remember you said they were trying to cut down on budget when the park opened, and then they would have expanded it. Well, there is a rumor going around that Animal Kingdom may be getting two things. One, they might be introducing Zootopia, that whole land for animals. Since Animal Kingdom involved animals, why not? And
Makes
the
sense.
second rumor, now, don't call me crazy, this is the rumor. They are saying that there will be a Black Panther Wakanda section located in Africa. And I said, hail to the no! I said that right away. I said I'll take Zootopia anyway, and I'll tell you why, and then I'll let you say what you think. The reason I don't think Wakanda should be located in Animal Kingdom is because of two reasons. One, the amount of backlash that is going to get. That movie was great, but to say that Wakanda is located in an animal kingdom, kind of almost implementing that they're animal savages, nah, we don't want to do that. And number two, I don't think a Marvel superhero ride would fit well in a park dedicated to animals, as I've said. Now, you do have Pandora, the world of Avatar. You have the Yeti experience. You've got Dinosaur. You've got a couple of other things. You've got the Safari. So I don't think putting a Marvel attraction, even though it would be popular and I think it could have potential, I don't see it playing out. Now, Animal Kingdom is based off of similar to The Lion King with the whole Africa theme. And I do like it. I really love Animal Kingdom. I gotta say, that's my favorite park of the bunch. But I don't see Wakanda being there. And I think that will cause a lot of backlash.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people aren't happy with the choices made by Bob Chapek, who runs all the Disney theme parks. Especially lately with all the changes they're making, where you're not seeing anything original come into a park. It's all IPs. So, like you said, if you're going to bring something to Animal Kingdom, you said it's already two IPs that made them a lot of money. It's either going to be Zootopia or, like you said, Black Panther. I've heard Black Panther at Epcot, where Wonders of Life used to be. Now, again, that's the same thing. It's a rumor. Rumors change. And I don't think they would put it there because look at all the backlash they got for Guardians of the Galaxy already.
Oh, yeah.
But Zootopia, I don't have a problem with an Animal Kingdom because at least it fits the theme,
Yeah.
It's not like, why is it here? It kind of feels like, okay, it does deserve to be here. It kind of makes sense to. I mean, the question ends up being, does the Animal Kingdom get an expansion that quickly? I mean, it took them a very long time for them to get anything after Expedition Everest opened. Then they got, obviously, Avatar. I don't hate that idea. I think it would work well. But trust me, when I did the dinosaur video, and I said that there's rumors about Dinosaur becoming another Indiana Jones adventure, everybody in the comment section said, why would it become that? That's a terrible idea. Don't change it. And again, I feel like that's a majority of the people who've gone to Disney parks for a long time. They don't want to see these IPs take over those attractions, or attractions getting closed so they can rebuild or put up new attractions based on popular movie franchises. It's something that Universal does. So, at one point, I get why the fans feel that way, but at another, they need reasons to bring people to the park. So if you're making billions of dollars at the box office, why not bring those franchises to your parks to make another million or billion, But it's not just Animal Kingdom. It's obviously Epcot, which people are calling like Ipcot, IPcot, because the rumors of, Guardians coming, you're bringing Ratatouille, they were thinking about bringing Inside Out, you already got Finding Nemo. So a park like Epcot that was originally built on original ideas, not IPs, not anything popular, they're all going out the door, and you're bringing in all these other franchises that are making you money. A lot of the people I know that have been going to those parks since the 80s and 90s are not happy with those choices.
Absolutely.
So,
my dad is a perfect example. I never told anybody, but my dad's 80 years old. And I can vouch for that, and he can. He was there when Disney opened and Universal opened, and he remembered staying at the Disney hotels. And he tells me all the time, back then, this would have been better. Because back then, this was original. Walt Disney was a genius. I will say this, and I don't think anyone really truly understands. Everyone says, oh, Disney sucks. Guys, Disney does not suck. Because Disney was created by a man who envisioned a place for everybody to just really just go and have fun. I know Walt Disney probably cared about money, but the way he pitched these ideas, Epcot, the way he pitched these parks, it almost was like money didn't mean anything to him. It was like he just wanted to share what Disney had to give the people something fun. And when he died, and it's so sad when he died, that he didn't get to see what it has become today. Now, I think that if they are to do what they did, or if they do decide to replace these rides with IPs, then unfortunately you're killing Walt's dreams. To kind of keep the originality alive, the spirit, the magic of Disney. And I sound like a fanboy right now, but if there's one thing that I cherish, is when a child walks into a park, looks up, and sees something unreal. Because as adults, we lose that touch. As we get older, sometimes it comes back, but we have to really think hard before we start to remember what it's like to be a child. Because when we look at kids, when they go to these parks, some kids, I want Spider-Man, I want the Hulk, I want this, I want that. But what about the other little kids, the 4 or 5-year-olds that just, the little feeble minds of a young child, the imagination that runs wild in them? That's the thing with Disney that will always stand out to me. It always reaches to the inner child within us. And I think that these franchises may reach out to some, but I don't think it will have an effect that it has had for many, many years.
And I agree with that, because I'm just thinking off the top of my head, when was the last time an original attraction was built at, just Walt Disney World? Fantasyland? That whole area being rebuilt? Expedition Everest, maybe? Those are the two that pop in my head, where it's not based off of IP, it's an original idea that the Disney Imagineers came up with. And I agree with you where it's like, you want original ideas that people are going to remember. I've always said that about an attraction. It's a very good attraction if it makes memories you can't forget or you don't want to forget. And I get it. Marvel's very interesting and popular. Star Wars is very interesting and popular, and it does that. But are people really going to remember those for what they are versus something like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, The Haunted Mansion, It's a Small World, Pirates of the Caribbean? Even with the changes to it to include the movie, it still was an original attraction before it got turned into a movie franchise, you know? So, I mean, I get it. At the end of the day, Disney, I hate to say it now versus what they were, you kind of think that they're more worried about money, and you brought it up a little bit earlier. The prices of tickets keep going up. The wait times and the capacity of these parks are hitting points where they're turning people away.
Yeah. And
you're going to go to a point where you go, when is enough going to be enough? Especially when it comes to, price point. How much are people willing to pay to go to these parks, you know? And I get it. You're building stuff that's very popular. People want it at your parks. That's great. But at the same time, if you're knocking out the legacy of what the park was, it kind of loses its touch. It's not... I know we were supposed to get off of Universal, but look at Universal Studios Florida. One attraction, the E.T. Adventure. That's the last opening day attraction. And yeah, it's not in the best state. People think it's a little bit run down, but it has heart, which a lot of the other attractions don't. You know, that's what I'll say about Disney's classic attractions. They have heart. They have a story. There's something there that, like you said, puts a smile on your face. I don't know if I would feel that way about, anything, any of the older attractions getting replaced. If you were to replace Big Thunder Mountain Railroad with, I don't know, off the top of my head, something from Marvel, it loses its touch. It's not the same type of attraction, you know? Oh, but it's a popular franchise. It's a classic character. Not one that Disney created. Not one that Walt had in mind, you know, or these Disney Imagineers had in mind, like Tony Baxter and all the ideas he's come up with. So I kind of feel like if Disney wants to keep that going, it's the same thing. There has to be some type of balance between, you know, original ideas and these IPs that are making you a lot of money.
Yeah.
But from what Bob Chapek looks like he's doing, Get the IPs in there. Who cares what people think? Because most people aren't real hardcore fans of Disney. We want those families that want to come because we got Star Wars, Marvel, Frozen, Pixar, you name it, we got it. Come on, give us your, thousands of dollars. We don't care.
You see, that's what gets me mad, and that's why I'm glad you brought it up. When you said ticket prices are going up, the parks are too crowded, and you know something? That is something I was going to hold off on saying this, but I got to let it out. Okay. Bear with me what I'm about to say, but we know it's a fact. These companies do not care what we think. And I'll tell you why. They have so much money that it's almost like they're just letting the dollars ring through their ears rather than hearing the cries or complaints or something. And when you do complain, their easy solution, we'll just take it off. We don't care. We won't lose anything. We don't care. You're half-fasting the customer. See, this is why I'm upset at Disney. This is why I don't like Disney as much as I used to. Because Disney only cares about money. Now, that's every company, but they're doing it in a way where it's like Apple. Now, I hate bringing this argument up if Steve was alive or if Walt Disney was alive, because you can't say that stuff because you don't know what they would have said. But I can guarantee you, if Walt Disney was alive, the originality train would just keep on rolling. Walt would not stop with originality. That man was a living legend with originality. And that is something that Disney is losing its touch. It's becoming Universal in a sense. And they just don't care. Customers complain. The wait lines are too long. Their fast pass is a joke. They don't like the layout. They don't like certain things. Their response? Oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say? We were just counting our money. They don't care. And it upsets me because I've seen this happen. I've heard complaints, but they don't do anything about it. At least with Universal, when you have a certain complaint and you talk to them, here's the difference. Universal will personally email you and say, we apologize, and actually take the time to care. They care. Disney says, we may not respond to you, but just know your opinion matters. So you mean to tell me that a company that is not as big as you has the time and effort to reach out to you and acknowledge that you said something and is actually working to fix it versus taking the 5 seconds to at least acknowledge the customer? You mean to tell me you're that slow? You're that greedy. You can't even waste your own energy. You're afraid to, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I'm just going to say this. You said it, and we'll both agree on it. We know Disney is more popular than two parks, so that doesn't still justify the fact they still have millions of people coming in, both Disney and Universal. I just think with Disney, it's supply and demand. For every 10 people that come into that park, there's probably one that has a complaint, and they probably feel like it doesn't hurt them at the end of the day, Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, even if you have a person who has an annual pass and they say, we're not going to renew it, okay, fine. That doesn't matter to us because we still know every year we're having all these families come into the park. And we're still making money hand over fist. So even we've heard people complain, they have too many dance parties. They have too many of these small-time attractions. And I agree. It's stuff that shouldn't draw people into the park. But guess what? It's Disney. People know. It's like Apple for the longest time. Well, I got Apple products. It's the top of the line. I gotta have it. It's like Disney. You gotta go to the parks because it's Disney. Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, they're all there. Why not go to the parks? It's Disney. They can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So, I agree with you where you see it. They have all these complaints. There's a lot of problems with the parks. They're counting their money. Going, how much can we raise next time? Do you think people are still going to be willing to pay for that? Yeah, I think so. We can raise another $10. What about parking? Another $10. Who cares?
Oh.
They're still going to pay it. We don't even have to go into parking because parking costs you an arm and a leg to get into any park these days.
Oh my god, you kidding me? Oh my god. And they don't even let the parking travel over to the other parks.
Oh, that's one of the reasons why I haven't really gone to Disney in my last couple of years in Florida, because even with the hopper passes and the parking and the travel, at least with Universal and Islands Adventure, you can knock out both if you really want to in one day.
I've done it, so I'm proof.
It's easy enough. And they kind of want you to do that because then you can take the Hogwarts Express. Disney parks are so far away from each other, they kind of do that on purpose, except in California, which is right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
But Walt Disney World, it's nah. If you're doing Animal Kingdom, good luck trying to do that in half a day. You got to stay here the whole day because by the time you get to another park, you ain't got much time because we're closing early.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you see, you read my mind perfectly. Like, this is why I'm glad I picked you to come on collab, because you understand just how I think, and that's the thing that I think we're agreeing on, is we see the issues, and maybe, who knows, there are other people out there that see it this way. But again, people like us, Disney's gonna say, who cares? Hell, they don't even treat their annual pass holders like nice. I'm an annual pass holder. We've been loyal to Disney. They have never once offered a discount. Universal's given us extra months for free. Universal's offered us a discount on our renewal. And on top of that, they've even given us, hear this one, they've given us an actual free upgrade.
Listen, I think at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? It's how you're treated as a customer. And again, we know Universal isn't as popular as Disney, but at least they make sure that for their annual pass holders, you're getting something in return. We respect you for sticking with us through whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Disney, they know whether you're an AP or not, you're not hurting us at the end of the line, because we're still going to end up at the end of the year when they're doing the top theme parks. We're still going to have 4 out of the top 5, probably. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter to us. Mm-hmm. So we still have people, no matter what, coming to our parks.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and you know something, that's a sad reality. And unless the population starts to wake up and say, you know something, this ain't right, it's never going to change. Because in order for it to change, but wait, before you go, in order for it to change, enough people, I'm not saying billions, but a certain amount have to wake up and say, time out. This is one park. I can't afford to go there for that price. So why am I wasting all my money to go to the park when they'll charge me more for this and that? And I'm telling you, the food there is a joke. The food is stale and crappy. And Universal ain't no pleasure either, but at least Universal, I mean, you get a little... I'd actually not. I give Disney with selection, but they're still disgusting. But the thing is like...
It depends on where you are.
Depends, exactly.
Food at Disney, yeah.
Animal Kingdom has the best barbecue. Barbecue heaven.
True.
Barbecue
I
chicken.
agree with that.
But the thing is there's got to be a certain number of people that got to wake up and say, you know something, this ain't right. Like, it can't just be, oh, it's that guy, that guy. No, it has to be a certain amount of people that wake up and say, you know something, this ain't right. But I don't think people will think like that because they have children. They've got people that will want to go, and then they got to go. And it's just so many people go, and they just keep on going. Look at Toy Story Land. I went there, I rode the rides. It was a nice expansion, but it just felt like that hype. I don't know.
Listen. That I was hoping you bring that up. I remember when it opened. There was people on Twitter, you know, like I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but you have these people who do their vlogs and they go to the parks and they're there for the special event. And there was a handful of them complaining, 300 minutes for this, and I'm going. You do know what the area is, right? It's an expansion. It's one major attraction. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a holdover until Galaxy's Edge opens up next year. What were you expecting? 300 minutes? Yes, of course. Imagine what Galaxy's Edge is going to be
400.
Like. But you bring that up, and I was like, people expect one thing, and then they get there and they're disappointed. It's like, you got to know what the expectations are when you get there. But like you mentioned, families that have never been to the park don't know what they're getting themselves into, and if they don't take their kids to the park, their kids are going to cry and complain, and they go, "Okay, we got. Listen, I'm on vacation. I got to shut these kids up. I'll take them to the park for a couple hours, and they'll pass out when we get home." But to go back, like you were mentioning, it's going to take something. Do you think price will eventually tell people, like you mentioned with Apple and the iPhone XS and the XR? Do you think there's a price point for like a one-day ticket at any of these Disney parks where people go, that's too much for us?
I think so, and I'll tell you why. Because if people are willing to stand up and say, okay, we don't need a new phone, they can stand up for anything. It doesn't just go for tickets. It goes for everything. But the thing, and also I just want to clear something up, I wasn't actually expecting much out of that park. I was just going there and just walking around. I actually went on the rides. They were pretty good. The only thing that I was disappointed in was that they didn't really execute the vision of Toy Story Land like the way they were promoting it. They were promoting it as this grand giant land that you could go to and you'll stay there for hours. It just felt like you could go there for 30 minutes and that's it. That's
pretty much. It's like, hey, everything, it's Toy Story Mania, and then also a couple other smaller attractions. But don't worry, it's a whole new thing. Again, that's something we mentioned with Disney. You advertise one thing, and then when you get there, it's something else. You go, I spent all this money, and I got to wait 300 minutes for a middle of, like a mediocre roller coaster at best.
And to be fair, though, the roller coaster actually wasn't that bad. To be fair,
it looks good, but it's like, and then I heard people waiting 300 minutes, and it's already having problems.
I wouldn't wait 300 minutes for that ride. And
exactly.
It was really bad that they actually had standby lines go for 300 minutes.
Like, when Potter opened, we went the first year, and there was a standby line all the way to Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. That was warranted, though. Toy Story Land, I kind of, even with all the hype, I was like, I never would imagine I would be on a standby line.
I was able... You know something? I was able to ride the Toy Story Mania ride. I was able to ride that 4 times, and the wait time never went down.
Jesus.
But I know you asked a question before. I'm sorry. I'll let you talk in a second. But you asked a question about the price point of the tickets. Yes, I do believe if it gets to that point, people are going to wake up and say, nah. Because if the because look at... I mean, if I could pull up right now a general admission. I'm going to pull it up, actually. Unless you have it on you. I don't know if you do.
I gotta Google it myself.
I'm gonna pull up Disney World tickets versus Universal admissions, standard admissions. I'm gonna pull it up, and I want to see a comparison. So, the reason that I say this is, look, the ticketing system is different. Everything is all different, but the price is what makes it matter. And here's what it is. So it says right here. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. How about this? You pull up Universal. I'll pull up Disney. Does that sound fair?
Okay, but we're looking for
Disney World,
as of today, like a 1-day park ticket.
Yes,
for
as of today, 1-day park ticket. No park hoppers, just a regular park. Let's see. So let's say I want to go to Magic Kingdom. So I pull up Magic Kingdom, and then I'll say, all right, I'm on the website. Looks nice. Got magical classic experience. Blah blah blah. All right. So I go to buy tickets. So. Damn, they don't even let you buy tickets here. Damn, that's sad. You can't even buy it here. You gotta actually buy it at the park. Damn. But anyway, let me get it. I'm trying to find it. It's not coming up on me, but I think that's because of my. Oh, okay.
I will list. Yeah, I think I have Universals here from what I see. So.
All right, let me do shop. Maybe that's why. Nope, that's merchandises. Never mind then. Okay.
I'm looking right now and see what I got.
Yeah, I'm still looking. This is how confusing. Like, I'm not even being real. Wow, they'll give you a place to stay. Oh, okay, here we go. Theme park tickets. There we go. So, okay, so let's say I pick a park. 4-day park? No. 1-day park per day. Okay, so how much does it cost at Universal to go for 1 park per day?
1-day ticket from them, according to their site, is $114.
Oh, damn.
That's what I got right now. So, per person plus tax.
Well,
so what, is it cheap? Is it cheaper from Disney and I'm looking like an idiot right now?
Only a few dollars cheaper. It's $109, but then you get into the Park Hopper Plus crap. That adds on $55. Oh, snap. Oh, I'm sorry, no. That makes it more. If you add on it makes it $164 per ticket for just.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
But my question. So even with that right now, you're kind of feeling like that's a little bit too much, right? So
kind of.
Just in general, right now, if you were to go to Universal to do both parks in 1 day, according to their site, it costs you $169, which I don't think is too bad for what you're getting. But you hear these stories about Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney World itself. Sometimes it costs like $435 to get the 4-park pass.
It's $380 to get a 4-day park pass?
Yeah, okay. So do you think that's too much right now? What's the limit? Do you think $450 per person, and you say that's enough? I'm not doing all 4 parks when I'm on vacation.
If they cross the $400 mark, even $450, if they cross the $400 mark, I think that's where the line has got to stop. I mean, I could see the admissions. Okay, $109 is not bad because I'm a season annual pass holder, so I don't pay admissions. I just pay that one fee, and it pays for itself. But if I was an average consumer going into a park with money in my pocket, willing to dish out, and I looked at the price of a 1-day park, and I wanted to go to other parks, and I can't pick because it says here you only have one option. You can only pick this park hopper, and it only allows you to go to 4 parks. You don't have a selection of how many days. And the thing is you can't even pick like what park you want to go to. And a matter of fact, they raise the price on certain days, which is very tedious of them. The cheapest you can go is $79 if you're going 6 days.
I think Universal and Disney now use the same thing, where depending on when you're going, if it's busier, you're paying more money. Which again, I hate that idea. But it's supply and demand. That's how you're going to get. How you're going to get people to come into your park. Well, if you want to come when our new attractions open, you got to pay more money. So, but I always felt like there's like a limit. If it goes to like $250 to $300, I'm like, I don't think Universal or any of the Disney parks for one day is worth it. And I don't know if we're getting there, but every year I know in Florida they're raising the prices of the annual pass and the single day tickets. And on top of that, you're paying for parking, food, souvenirs. You never know what else you're going to pay for when you're there. So it's not just whatever the price of the ticket is.
Yeah. So this is what I would have done. You see, $109, that's an okay price. But let's say they raise the price up to $120. So then I'll be like, all right, $20. But then you start going to $150. Then I'm saying, time out. That's a big increase. Then you go to $200 for just one day. I don't think it'll ever get there, but let's just assume it did. That's where I think people will draw the line. I think it's like if you reach a certain number, it'll drop. But the thing that makes me not cool, and I'm looking, this is from my perspective. Obviously, I'm not a single, but if I was in an average consumer's step point, let's say I just want to go to 2 parks. I don't have an option here for a park hop, am I saying it right? Park hopper that allows me to go to just one park. You're paying to go to all 4 parks. But the thing is, you may not be able to make those parks because of the time, how long you're waiting, and they're not giving me an option here. It says you got to pay this price to go to all 4, and it sucks for you if you can't make all of it. That's kind of how it feels. Yeah,
at least with Universal, from what I remember, is that if you get like a 3-day 2-park, it doesn't start working until you actually get to a park. So at least you have time. If you buy a ticket from Disney, I don't know if it's the same way where, sure, you buy a ticket, but you got to show up the day you buy the ticket up.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, and again, I know how it's their plan. If you're a family and you're going down there for a week, you got 4 days. If you're spending 4 days at our parks, there's a chance you're not going to anybody else's parks because, you need a day to settle in from your flight in and you need a day to fly out.
Yeah.
So that's how they kind of get you. It's like, oh, you can spend individual tickets, or you can buy all 4 and you'll get like a decent discount on it.
It's not even a good discount either. I'm looking at the 4-day park pass. Like, let's say you're a family and stuff. You're going to end up paying $380. You get the 4-day park pass. That's cool. You get to go to all parks. But the thing that's so weird is it's $380 per person. Then let's get into a fact that if you go to a hotel. Now, a hotel will probably bring the price down of the tickets, or they'll include the tickets, so maybe you get a little leisure there. But hotels there generally are not that cheap. And then, on top of that, you got to fly out, fly in, depend on the airfare. So that's kind of expensive on its own if you don't live in Florida. If you drive down, because, like, my father drives down, so that's not bad. And we kind of have a house there, so that's how we stay and relax.
Right.
But, see, that's where I'm saying people should time out and be like, time out. Like, right there, that's not sitting with me.
But you know what ends up happening? They don't realize how much it costs them until they book all that. That's just how it is. So yeah, the tickets are cheap. It's like when I was looking, like I know the tickets are cheap, and then you're trying to book a flight and you're looking at it and you go, $1,200? What the hell is this?
Oh Jesus! So, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no problem.
It says here there's 2 different 4-park Magic Select tickets, which means. Okay, so you get a $340 for a 4-day park pass. That's only for 1 park. Then you get an upgrade for $356 to then select. You can get 1 admission to each park, 1 park per day. $356 per person. That's 1 park a day, different park. You can't swap. Then if you want to do the swap, the 4-park Magic ticket, that gives you to every park. You can go to anyone, not on per day.
Right.
$380. That's $400. That's $1,200.
All right, that's not easy at all. That's not cheap at all.
No, think about it. You're a wife and husband. Now we're gonna obviously end this soon because we actually got into it a lot. We're not trying to degrade Disney, but guys, you gotta think in a perspective. I'm talking to the viewers right now. You're a husband and wife. You have one kid. You're going to be like, okay, but that's $1,200. That's $1,200. Do you know what $1,200 can get you? Then let's take into account you take your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, if you have 3 or 4 kids. So let's do the math. Husband, wife, kid. Let's say you have 2 kids. 2 kids. Say you have a 3rd kid, because I don't see anybody going 4 or 5. So let's say 3 kids. Mother-in-law. You always got to include the mother-in-law. So that's 6 people. Now, everybody can vary, but just imagine you're a party of 6. 400, 800 estimated, because it's 380 with tax. 400, 800, 1,200, 600, 2,000. $2,400 if you're a party of 6. Then let's take into account the hotel. And the hotel is not cheap at all. Although you do get a discount on tickets, so maybe it'll give you a little leisure there. Wait a minute.
Listen, everything you're mentioning too.
And then you fly out. I'm sorry. Right. Then you fly out, getting a cab, getting to the park. This is going to drive you.
Even if you're going out for dinner. Even if you're going out for lunch, if you're not eating at the parks,
Do you see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. That right there should be the indicator. The red lights were like, time out. We're a family. We only make so much income a year. How can we afford to take these kids here if they don't even have a much cutback? Like, that right there, that's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to let you talk. I just got to go grab something to drink, but go ahead. The floor is yours. Take it over.
Oh, all right. Well,
Take it over.
Way to put me on the spot. That's fine. I got it. Look, I still don't think that should discourage people from Disney, but I tell it to people who've never been there, co-workers that I work with that just went to Disney for the first time last year. Do your research, because it's not what it seems when you're paying for the tickets. It's just there's a lot more on top of it than just paying for going to the parks. Like we've already mentioned, air flight, depending on when you book your tickets, depending on where you're staying, the food itself. Obviously, if you got kids, they're going to want stuff from the parks that aren't cheap anymore. It costs an arm and a leg. And it's I don't think anybody, it doesn't matter if it's Disney or Universal, you don't realize the cost until you're actually there, or until you get your bank statement and you realize, oh man, where the hell did all this money, what did I spend it on?
Yeah, so, it makes you think, were those Mickey ears worth it?
Well, that balloon that looks like a Mickey Mouse ears, Yeah,
that's a joke. I used to be in marching band, and there were kids that would buy those balloons. I was like, you morons. I was like, come on.
Listen, I'm only willing to spend money on a churro when I'm at a park. That's it. Listen, it doesn't cost that's like $8.
I'll take a drink. Honestly, I'll be real with you. If there's one thing I'm willing to spend in a park, is to drink, because at least when you buy the cup, you get an unlimited refill.
That's true.
So
you gotta buy the one that has that. Yeah.
Even though it's a ripoff, I'll admit your thirst is more important.
But then you're stuck taking that with you everywhere you go, and you gotta leave it in the lockers when you go on the attractions.
Oh yeah. Damn, they get you on every corner.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you want to use? Okay, here, you gotta pay for the locker now. So.
Oh yeah. So, as you guys can see, this is a lot of fun talking about this stuff. If you guys haven't caught on by now, we've been able to drag out the third part of the future of theme parks. This is a lot of fun right now. I really wish this wouldn't stop, but obviously we got to know when to end. So we're going to end the third part of this segment with Disney. And keep in mind, guys, we're not bashing Disney. We're not at all trying to say Disney's a criminal or anything. We're not even trying to make it look like they're the bad guy. We're just talking about an opinion. Now, whether you agree or disagree, that is your prerogative, and it's fine. I'm not going to argue it. I don't think he's going to argue it. Nobody will argue your opinion. And keep in mind, it's good to be open. It's good to say what you think. And you know something? I'm glad that we were able to get this out of the air. So, now I'm glad.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we can say for the record, we both agree, even though we sound like we are, we still think that the Disney parks are probably better than Universal.
Exactly. Yeah.
But just in reality, that the last couple of years, Disney's, I guess, their ideas for the parks haven't been well received. Mm-hmm. So they kind of deserve some of the criticism they've gotten. Mm-hmm. Same thing for Universal. They deserve the criticism. Both parks do. You just hope that they're willing to learn from their mistakes, and hopefully better things are on the horizon.
Yeah. That's not bad, though. I'm sorry. I looked at something. There's a 2-park 1-day ticket. It's $169 if you go to Universal and Islands of Adventure. I think that they should probably just swap that and include Volcano Bay in the summer, because then it would make it more justifiable for the $169.
Can I ask you, just because I've had this debate with everybody,
Yeah.
is Volcano Bay their third park? Am I wrong in saying that I don't consider it to be their third park? That Fantastic Worlds will be their third park? Because I'm so used for Disney never including Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach.
They do.
They do consider it a theme park?
They do.
Oh, then maybe I just haven't been paying attention. I just find it weird. I never imagine a water park being considered a theme park.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in that sense. But I can see what you're thinking. It's just water slides.
Because when you talk about Disney theme parks, you always talk about the big four. You talk about Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios.
You don't bring up the water parks.
You don't bring up Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon. That's why I'm always like, yeah, look, it's our fourth park. I'm like, no, it's not, because Volcano Bay is a water park, so I don't consider it to be it. I don't know. I get into that debate with everybody. I'm like, if they don't advertise it that way, maybe it's just me. I'm so used for Disney for years being that way, so.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned 4 parks, right? The 4 tickets to the parks. Mm-hmm. Not including Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach. So
yeah, I agree, and you're not wrong. I would say half 50-50. The only reason 50-50 is because the 50% is because they need all that they can to expand. And number 2, I say no because, again, it's just slides. It's not a ride. It's not anything. But they have done certain things with the park using those bands, but also telling a story, kind of expressing it, making it almost like a ride. So in a way, 50-50. So now let's get to the fourth and final part of the future of theme parks, and then we're going to close off with the bonus content. Then we got to go. But I got to say, dude, this has been one amazing podcast. I have never had this much fun. I've had a lot of people come on, no disrespect to them, but this was thoroughly fun. So much fun that this is the longest podcast I have ever done.
Well, I hope you don't have to do much editing to the video, because I feel really bad.
No, don't worry. What I'll do is I'll probably just take a picture of me and you, our YouTube channel, I'll just combine it into one, put a little theme park pictures here and there, boom, just drag it across.
Okay, good.
Let's just do that. But anyway, fourth final part, now let's get to the future of theme parks. Where do each company go? And let me explain what I mean by that. So now that we've discussed AR, talking about pricing and expansions of screens, the question now, the final question is, where can each park take these ideas or concept and run with them? Where could they be heading? Can they be heading into a future where everybody are idiots, they'll just pay for everything, or will they head into a direction where they are innovative and people will pay for what is worth it? The question is really debatable, but I want you to go first, because I kind of talked a lot, so I'm going to let you go first. Where do you think each park is headed? And do you see expansions? Do you see like more parks being opened in other countries? Do you see other rides, innovation for each side, Universal and Disney?
Well, for Universal, just because I know that parks...
Whoa, the sound quality just changed.
Do I sound okay? Because, you know
what? No, it's much more clearer.
You know, I feel bad then, because I've been using the AirPods the entire time.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
So I figured, I used them for the other interviews, and they haven't turned out that bad. So.
No, it's not bad at all. But you know what it is? Wired connection is more of a direct connect, so you get a better... Okay. But it's okay, though. It's okay. It's fine.
Good. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
I figure, if I use the mic on the laptop, it'll sound...
No. Whatever's convenient for you. I'm not complaining.
Okay. Yeah. So for Universal, we obviously know their biggest thing coming forward is either going to be Super Nintendo Land at whatever park it's going to be, and obviously
or it could be its own thing.
Right, at Fantastic Worlds, which is probably their biggest expansion they'll have in the next 10 years. Obviously, a brand new park. What's going to come there? Who knows? There's a lot of things that Universal is doing. Their future. I don't like to be a pessimist, but I have this feeling that we're going to see more of what we discussed, these screen-based attractions, nothing innovative and unique. And the thing is, though, it's still going to draw people to the park because it's going to be based on IPs that don't have attractions at the time. Mm-hmm. I think their biggest topics right now is what happens with Jurassic Park. We know Hollywood's getting to Jurassic World, and all the signs to that point to being screens. Removing most of those animatronics, which I think is terrible, but what are you going to do?
Wait, I'm sorry, what was that? I didn't hear you.
Oh, so what they're planning on doing for Hollywood is that most of the animatronic scenes are going to be replaced with 8K screens.
Oh, come on!
Listen, I'm going off for rumors. The only thing I will say that's not bad is that the finale will have a new animatronic Indominus Rex fighting the original T-Rex.
That's fine.
So that might make up for everything else. But
they're gonna keep they're gonna keep the layout of the Jurassic Park ride the same, just reimagining it for Jurassic World, kind of.
Yes, but the major thing that they're doing right now is that the entire building, now the entire ride, will be enclosed, which is weird because I never imagined the water ride being enclosed. But I guess they're doing that so if they're incorporating screens, if it rains, it's not going to really ruin it.
Yeah.
But you ask yourself, if that does well in Hollywood, is Islands of Adventure going to turn over to that? Is Japan? Is Singapore? They're all going to become Jurassic World?
Well, the thing is, with Universal Orlando, they haven't come out and said that they're opening a Jurassic World, like changing the water park. They haven't come out and said that. They do their monthly refurbishes. I was just there. But I saw the construction fences, and I've seen what they're doing. It looks like they may transition over to the Jurassic World, but I think they'll leave the Jurassic Park ride there because they'll probably tie it into like a look back at the history, kind of like they did in the movie. But with the roller coaster, I hear that they are going to make it very long. It's going to be a long ride. And it's rumored to have the gyrospheres, again, coming off of that woman that we were talking about. What was her name again?
I think it was Alicia Stella. I know she runs Orlando Park Stop, and she... Watching the Potter coaster rumor video, she's like 99.9% right. That's going to happen.
Yeah, she's 99.9%.
So I take her, like, she's right now, in my opinion, like, she's the go-to if you want rumors on the Orlando.
Oh, absolutely. If there's anybody I recommend, I go to her. If you want news and stuff of history, I go to you. But if I need rumors, I'm going to go to her. But you know what it is like, and let's just, like, before we even go any further, like, I just want to say, I really wish she was here, because we could have her tell us the layouts and stuff, because she is, like, I'll be real, like, we're going to just go off for a couple of seconds here.
Okay.
Like, let's admit, bygone be bygone. She is amazing. I never heard of her until I saw the rumor of the Potter coaster, and then I started watching more and more videos. She started talking about Nintendo Land. I was like, wait a minute. Everything she's saying is coming true. It described the layout exactly the way that they're building it. Probably not 100% exactly, but 99.9%. She is right on the money. And it would have been so cool had she had come on. I really, really hope that if she watches this video, I really, really hope she understands that I was being serious. I really hope she comes on. But I understand she's busy. She probably got a life. She's got So,
listen, she's probably getting the next big scoop on the next big thing coming to Orlando. That's why.
Maybe. But if she watches this video, I would like her. Like, I'm gonna put it out there right now. If I could get you to come back and she could come back, we could do another video. We could discuss opening rides and stuff, and say, hey, we could sit down and
that's fine with me.
That's fine with me too. But let's get back onto it. But let's be real here, though. She is the GOAT with rumors.
Yes,
she's the GOAT.
Yes. Listen, I've known people in the past that have done that, but she's, like you said, she was on the money. It seems like with Super Nintendo Land, their attractions, the Jurassic Park ride, and Potter, and then I think she recently just did something about Zootopia as well. Like
that's why, see why I brought that up.
So she's usually when she puts a video out, I'm stopping what I'm doing and I'm watching it because I want to see what's coming.
She makes me excited. Like she makes me excited to go back. Like, if it wasn't exciting enough to go, just to know that these things are coming makes it more, like, I cannot wait to get back there.
Yeah. Listen, it was one thing to enjoy the parks, but when I started to pay attention to the rumors and the construction of it for myself, that's like when it became something else, and it's like, news and stuff, paying attention to all these websites and people posting stuff. It's exciting to see something like that happen, you know? Mm-hmm. It gets you hyped for when the attraction opens. But then when you actually get on the attraction, you go, oh, man, it's nothing like the hype was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. But to be fair, though, she does a great job. I love her as a YouTuber. I respect her. And I do hope one day we can get her so we can all discuss it and stuff. But that's all I got to say about that. But let's get back into it. So, back to Universal. Go ahead.
So, I think their future, there's some positivity there with the new Harry Potter coaster, Fantastic Worlds, if that's what's going to stay as the name. They have a lot on their plate, and Comcast, who owns Universal, is willing to spend the money to compete with Disney. Does that mean they're going to overtake Disney? Probably not, but it's nice to see competition take place.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But, I still have this hesitation that what's stopping the new park from being screen simulators in 3D? There's nothing there yet. You hope with the new Potter coaster in Jurassic Park, it's a changing for the times. I'm still going to hold my breath until we find out more about the new park.
Exactly. I won't, obviously do it. But for me, though, I think Universal has a lot of potential. I mean, they've always had potential, but I think now they've got the most potential to kind of shut the critics up about them being sidelined with Disney. They never were sidelined. I mean, they were in a way, but like they've had stuff to build on. I think going into the future with Universal, their main franchise they're going to bank off of is Harry Potter. I think that Harry Potter will be their number one go-to, because if you go to Universal, the first thing that comes up now is Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why they're going to expand. Originally, they were going to do the Ministry of Magic, but I don't know if they're going to do it anymore. I would love that. Actually, that's from Allison, so I would love to see the expansion. But we know that we are getting that coaster, and I am excited for that. We do know that they are working on the Jurassic Park, so they're probably saying there's a market for people that go to Disney and they're just not satisfied with thrill rides. We're the thrill ride geniuses, but we can make it better. We have rides for people that can't do all that stuff, simulators. Now, I'll be real with you. This is a coming clean. I'm not a big roller coaster guy.
Same here. Don't worry about it. You shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Oh, no, I'm not at all. My girlfriend roasts me more than my mom. Trust me. That's damn. She could go worse. But like I'm telling you, like if this Jurassic Park coaster is similar to how Allison is saying it, and the layout of it being in a gyrosphere from the movie, if they do, because it's going to be like a raptor kind of simulator, you can go fast. If it's like that, I will literally throw my fears out the door and go on it. I've been on a few. I've been on the Mummy. I tried to do the Incredible Hulk, but my body just will not let me do it. I'll talk about it later, but this is a private thing, so I'll tell you later. But the thing that I'm trying to say is, like, I'm not a big roller coaster guy, but I'm willing to break the rules if there's Jurassic Park and Harry Potter coaster. Even that drop thing she says, no, that's never been done. Or, well, it has been done, but it's not been done
in a Universal Park.
At a Universal Park. So there is a lot of things that Universal can do. Nintendo Land, there is so much hype around that, it's going to be unreal. They may just take the competition away from Disney if Nintendo Land opens, because Nintendo is big. We thought it was big. Look at what they're producing right now. They've got, no, they're not producing it, but look at their characters being put to good use with Smash Brothers, with Super Mario Kart, Luigi, the castle, all these characters, Donkey Kong. The amount of hype that surrounds these characters is what's banking on Nintendo Land. That is why I hope, because I'm glad that they agreed to this. They're going to have Japanese designers design the park, and they will take care. I'm glad that they were able to do that.
It's good to know that Nintendo is willing to put their input to these attractions, because you know that these guys are not going to let just like, okay, we're going to create the same type of attraction like anybody, like we did for Transformers or Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and we both know this because we talked about it. Nintendo, for the longest time, was very protective of their IPs. Mm-hmm. You ain't making no smart mobile games. Now, all of a sudden, they're making movies. You got mobile games. They've kind of gone to something different than a traditional video game console with the Switch.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's a lot there. But to see them expand, they're letting people... They're getting out of their comfort zone a little bit, but they're also, I'm pretty sure, like, Shigeru Miyamoto's not going to let them make a terrible attraction. It has to be something that's worth their time and money.
Exactly. So I think there's a lot more potential for Universal, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm no longer a kid. I'm 18 years old, but it was nice knowing that my childhood had a lot of good stuff growing up with Universal. Yeah, there have been a few dark turns, but I could safely say if I had something to look back at, I would look back at Universal more than Disney. But for Disney, we'll get into that just in a sec. But I'm glad to see that it's still growing and it's still taking care of its customers. I'm glad that they haven't changed that. Because if they start to become what Disney is, then it's really just nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, and I'm hoping Universal does well. I really will always be there. I will always support Universal, even if Disney is the best. Now, for Disney, for me, I don't know where they could go, because I think they're going to start doing the transitions into these IP movies. They're going to start trying to do all that Ratatouille and stuff. Although, to be fair, though, Epcot does need a few rides, so I mean... But the thing is like, if they go down that route, then that will probably be the beginning, not of the end, but the beginning of the end for millions of people that go there just to experience fun. Because if they start tearing down rides and putting up movie-themed rides, and then they're going to just be like, Universal already did that. So I can see them going in a direction where they start to... the only way I can see them going is if they get rid of that guy. if they get rid of him. I'm
You
sorry.
mean Chapek? Bob Chapek?
Bob Chapek. If they get rid of him, I don't know his name by heart, but if they get rid of Bob, maybe if they get somebody more that's a more hands-down approach that listens to the consumers, because that's what people need. See, I was going to say this earlier, but Apple doesn't generally listen to their consumers. No company does, because they got money. What do they need to listen? But sometimes you might want to put a little ear in there, because sometimes when people suggest things, it could turn out and be good. And Universal sometimes listens. Not as often, but they listen. And that's what they're doing now. They're listening and they're giving fans what they want. A thrilling ride experience. Disney, if that's what they should start doing moving forward, I think their future. They need to start working on their customer relationships. They need to start working on making it affordable for families. They need to kind of get new management, new teams that understand the people, not the corporation. Because the corporation will always make money. Movies, TV shows, they'll always make it. But you don't want to neglect your customers that pay to go to a park that represents you. So if they are able to kind of get those things down, then I can safely say, if this happens, which may not happen, but if they were to do this, Disney would probably go back up to the top with praises, I think. Now I want to hear what you got to say.
It's a little bit more confusing to me, because I don't think whatever they do, unless they raise the prices ridiculously high, you're still going to have tons of people still coming to their parks. Again, I feel this like, as somebody who's been to those parks for such a long time, I agree with you where there's not much there for me to say I have to go to Disney when I'm in Florida. It's just not really worth my time. Mm-hmm. I'd rather spend my money at Universal, because I feel it's a little bit cheaper, it's more bang for my buck, it's aimed towards me more than families, I guess. Like Disney has their attractions for certain people. But that being said, I don't think there's anything stopping Disney for the next 5 to 10 years. They already got Star Wars Galaxy's Edge coming out. That's going to draw tons of people to that park. Yeah. You got Marvel. And again, yes, it's based off of movies, but people have been wanting that for such a long time, and they only can get it at Universal. Now you're finally getting into the parks. Yeah. That's going to draw people in.
Yeah.
I still think their biggest problem, though, is how do you bring in new people without pissing off your fan base that you already have?
Yeah.
There got to be a balance between, okay, we're going to bring you attractions based off these IPs, but guess what? You've never seen a ride like it before. It's completely different. It's going to be a classic. It's Galaxy's Edge isn't just going to be like a ripoff of Star Tours. Their two attractions look different. They look new. They look exciting. Maybe they create something new for new families and younger kids that they can consider classics. But again, like you mentioned, Chapek is interested in the bottom line. They want the money. They want people coming to their parks. The only way that does it's like you mentioned with Apple. It hurts their bottom line. So people ain't buying, if they ain't spending tickets to come to the park, then you got to listen to what the consumers want.
Yeah.
But you look at all the expansions in every park around the world they're putting in and what they're putting in. It doesn't look like their plan's going to change anytime soon. My fingers crossed, maybe, but I've already said it. I'm going to go to a Disney park when Galaxy's Edge opens up. It'll be the first time in 10 years I've been to a Disney park.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, unfortunately, if somebody goes, IPs aren't that great, Disney doesn't know what they're doing when they're doing that, they're going to get my money sometime next year when I go to Florida, because I'm going to Hollywood Studios to go see what Star Wars looks like. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So, but I feel like Disney is going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to keep getting bad feedback from the people that grew up those parks in the 80s and 90s. But the reality is, they're still going to draw people into the parks. They're still going to make a lot of money from people who don't follow that, who don't pay attention to what the history of those parks were.
Mm-hmm. And that's where you come in. You help enlighten us all about it. And, that's a good thing.
It's just, look, I try to just give the story, because I've known enough people who either are too young and never experienced those parks, what they were with those attractions when they first opened, or just people who just never knew that they existed in the first place.
Yeah, so. I hear you. And you know something? I just missed it. I was born in 2000. Confrontation was torn down before I could even understand what was going on around me. But if I ever had a chance to go on it, I really would. I would have loved to have gone on Back to the Future. Although I think I have been on it, my memory is very, very vague. When did it close down?
I believe it closed
down
either 2006, I think late 2006, or
then
maybe early.
Then I probably went on it because
early 2007, because I know The Simpsons opened up, I think 2008 or 2009, so they had like 2 years to switch it over.
Yeah, and then I think I was on it because I remember my mom would board us into a car. It was like closed, this door.
Yeah.
So then I did ride that. But had I been able to, and I've experienced Jaws, I've experienced the classic rides, but the one ride that I always wish I could have watched was Kongfrontation. Because for me, I love the 76 King Kong film. I don't know which one you prefer, but growing up as a kid, I watched the original King Kong. That always will be the best Kong, hands down. But my favorite Kong that I grew up watching was the 1976 remake. Now, everybody's going to say, you're freaking weird, but that's just me. I love the 76. I personally think it's a good movie, although I can see there are some problems with it, but this isn't a movie review. But I just love the interpretation of Kong. It was a man in his suit, but it was able to make a human-like ape that had the emotions, things like that. And then you put it into a ride, it was even cooler. And I saw what it looked like, and I was just like, man, I wish I had been born a little later on, or a little earlier, so I could have seen it. But you know something? It's better not to do that, because then you'll be like, oh, I wish I was born there, and it never ends.
It's like with anything else. I should have been born 10 years earlier to see. I get it all the time. But I do say, for most people who missed out, that was like a pretty good era. From like 95 to when Kong closed was like probably their best, because that's just right when T2 3D opened. So that's like the park at its peak. So, for most people, I say you missed it, but that doesn't mean what you have now isn't as good.
Oh, yeah,
it's a matter of opinion. But,
oh, yeah. And you know what it is like, it's not even that Disney can't do that, or even Universal or anything when they tear down rides, but like, it's a philosophy. We got the biggest attraction, or we got the biggest franchise that can want to turn into a ride that we know we'll make $1 on. Kong was the first ride they did with that. And that's
right.
And you know something? I love the Mummy ride, but every time I go on it, I'm just like, I just look around for that gold King Kong reference. I'm just like, damn, Kong, they did you dirty. Because they Skull Island Arena Kong, it's just green. We only see you for like a couple seconds with the animatronic.
Yeah, that's just, that's probably one of the biggest disappointments. They hyped that up in all those teasers, and then you get it, it's like 6 seconds. And he's not even, it's from the waist up.
Don't even get me started.
Still very impressive. It's like, it's nice to see.
It is an impressive ride, but do not get me started. I was there opening day.
Oh, man.
Opening day! I waited 3 hours. I stood in the queue. They didn't have Fast Pass. That Fast Pass wasn't even a thing yet. They opened that up a little later. I waited in that queue for 3 hours. And the ride stopped like twice. I was there from 2 in the afternoon till 6.
Oh my god! See, I've always wanted to be at the grand opening of attraction, but I can imagine if it breaks down and you're there and you're like.
Well, that's what happened to Universal when they first opened. The park had a surge. Yeah. It's always a thing. You never want that to happen, but regardless, though, I wish I could have experienced some of that stuff. But I was glad that I was able to get out on some things like Jaws, Back to the Future. I guess nowadays the stuff that they've rebuilt it over are kind of like the classics that millennials will grow up remembering. Revenge of the Mummy, Twister, Disaster. They remember that stuff. They remember Shrek 4D. Obviously, that will be a remembrance. Jimmy Neutron, Nickelodeon. Like, those are things millennials are going to look back and be like, I grew up on that. But they're not going to realize that what came before was so much better. And I think, and for me, a millennial, to say that, I think that takes a lot out of me to say. But you got to come to terms with reality. The stuff that they had before was so much more impressive. Jimmy Neutron, I went on it. I love Jimmy Neutron. That was my favorite cartoon. But had I known what was there originally, I would have gone on that. I wanted to see the Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice. I would have liked to have seen all that stuff. But the fact that they're replacing it with all this stuff, that's a philosophy. But obviously, everything's going to be like that. But if Disney starts doing that, that's going to be a very, very sad day.
It's going to be interesting to see if that happens. Listen, you saw it with Disney California Adventure when they reskinned Tower of Terror into the Guardian of the Galaxy attraction there. A lot of bad feedback for that. Didn't go over well, but then when people actually got on the ride itself, they said, okay, this is a suitable replacement. I don't think you could do that for something like Haunted Mansion, though.
No.
I mean, if you change that to, let's just say, I'm just making crap off the top of my head, Doctor Strange, that's not going to fly. Nobody's going to like that.
No,
no. But, again, it's a mix of, I think it has to be for Disney. We can replace attractions that aren't classics, and as long as we make them unique and different and stand out, maybe the backlash won't be as bad.
Maybe. And you know something? And then one last thing before we finish off the future of theme parks and then we get into the most content. Can you see Universal or Disney buying out the competition? Now, obviously, Disney will never buy Universal. Universal is owned by Comcast. But let's say they try to buy out Six Flags or another company or anything like that. Because I know Universal bought SeaWorld's in Florida to open up. Well, not SeaWorld, Wet n Wild. They bought Wet n Wild. I don't know if they bought all of Wet n Wild, but I think they bought that location to open up Volcano Bay. Can you see Disney, let's say, tell Six Flags, hey, your park is awesome. We'll offer you triple just to take it for ours. I don't know about that, but I'm just curious.
I don't see them buying those type of parks. It just doesn't. I don't think they're going to open Disney's in every state then in that case, you know?
No, yeah.
I see it more, the most valuable IP out there that I don't think Disney would go after, but Universal would, and they should eventually, is how the hell did they get that DC Comics?
Yes.
Because listen, there's all the talk about Disney's been begging Universal to get the Marvel franchise from them, so then that's it. They own it. Universal has nothing to do with it. They're not going to do that unless they throw billions of dollars at them. But I feel like the attractions that you see at Six Flags for DC, not really doing them any justice, except the Justice League, the shooter they have.
Metropolis, yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty good attraction.
Cool ride, yeah.
But I feel like, and I've mentioned in a couple of the Marvel videos, like, oh, this could have been DC Superhero Land. And
yeah, the concepts you showed in your video, they look so cool.
Yeah. I feel like that should be the next big IP that Universal should look at getting for, whether it's Fantastic Worlds, for any of their other parks. I don't see Universal buying any parks from Six Flags or anything like that. I don't see Disney doing that either, because that's a lot more management, and it just seems like that would cost them a lot more down the line to do so.
Yeah. I agree, though. Disney, Universal should try to go for DC, because I go to Six Flags, and Six Flags has become increasingly lazy, but honestly, nobody cares anymore, because, like, Six Flags ain't even that big. I mean, it's just a place you go to relax. It's not like Universal and Disney where they got innovation and stuff like that.
Right.
This is just a place you go to relax. But the ride themes are really bad. They're just giant roller coasters. They don't fit any superhero theme.
With just a name on it. That's it.
Yeah,
just a superhero name. That's
Only
it.
the Justice League Battle of Metropolis. And even then, it doesn't feel like something that Universal could do. I think personally, though, I don't think that they should like outright buy the whole properties from them, because if they do, then Six Flags won't have anything to bank off of. What they should do is make an agreement with all three parties, DC, Six Flags, and Universal, should come together and be like, okay, so give us a couple, like, let's say if they get rid of Marvel, let's say they get rid of Spider-Man, which will be a sad, sad day. Let's say, though, they do get rid of it. Then they'll turn around and be like, okay, DC and Six Flags, how about this? We want to share the characters. I don't know if Six Flags has anything to do with it. I think it's just DC. But Six Flags has ownership probably of the rides. Maybe.
Yeah.
So we're going to be like, okay, I want to borrow a couple of characters. I want to use it for what rides we have now. And would you be willing to share? And I can see right now, I can see them sharing DC with Universal, making that Batman Arkham, like, not even Arkham, Gotham, and the Metropolis. Like, I can see these rides. Even if they're 3D, I can just see the props. I can see how much care they will put into it. Just like in those, like, designs that they had back when they tried. So, if they try to do that, that would be cool. The only question is if DC's willing to do that, and if Six Flags is even okay with that. Because Six Flags, they need those properties to survive.
Right. See, that's been the thing for the longest time, too, that they've said. Is that, hey, if we don't... It's a draw in the name itself. Like, oh, Superman has its own roller coaster. Okay. It's better than any generic name you can think of at the top of your head. But, you know, the problem ends up being Six Flags, I know, in general, as a company, has filed for bankruptcy a couple of times. And that's when the rumors have started, like, hey, maybe Universal can get in there and get it. And then the realization is they're able to get... backers, they manage to get more money into the parks, and they get out of bankruptcy. So, if Six Flags ever does go under, you know immediately, I think, I'm not saying that Disney would go out and buy DC as a company, because I don't think they could. I don't think they would allow that because they already own Marvel. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Universal try to swoop in and say, we want those rights.
Yeah.
Well, how much is it going to cost this? So
I wouldn't be surprised either. And something, I wouldn't even be surprised if they were able to even buy Six Flags, period. Because if let's say they get their hands on Six Flags, they could have their own input and say what they want in the parks. They could even bank off that. They could even be bigger than Disney in the United States if they were able to do that. But that's a monopoly almost because you're taking a build a franchise. But but again, it'd be cool to see.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that.
So yeah, that does it for the future of theme parks. Wow, that was fun.
It was.
All right, now it's time. Now I know you've been through a lot, but just bear with me. Now we got a little more the bonus content. Now, before we do the bonus content, I want to just take a quick 5-minute break with you. I want you to take this time to, if you want to say anything, you got anything you want to tell your viewers, if you even have anything you want to shout out or anything at all, this is your opportunity.
Well, let me just say once again, thank you for having me on your show, on the podcast. Really do appreciate it. We were trying this year, one of our resolutions is to be a little bit more social, get out there, whether it be on interviews, podcasts, or collaborations. So for myself, this is a step in the right direction. And it's been a pleasure talking to you. If I'm going to plug anything, we'll just plug the channel. You can find us at youtube.com. I think you got to put /C/theme park history. Or if you just search theme park history on YouTube, and we're usually the first.
I'll leave it in the description for anybody that wants to check it out.
And we don't usually tweet as much, but if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at TPH YouTube. I couldn't get theme park history. Somebody else already had it, and they don't even use it. There's no tweets. There's nothing from it. So
yeah, we should contact Twitter and be like, take that account down. I want that name.
The problem is it's that we've made a Facebook and an Instagram. We don't use either of them, but they have now TPH YouTube. So it's like, at this point, I'll just stick with it down the line.
Yeah.
But that's it. My thing is, and I've done it for the past, so I can do it for yours as an incentive. Do you have any idea when this is going to come out? Because I can tease what I'm going to release for the rest of the month. So, would you going to release this after this Friday that comes out, the 8th?
Well, it's going to take a while to edit because I'm going to have to get the picture and stuff, but I will probably say you could expect this to be released on either Friday, you're right, on Friday, or if it does take me a while, Saturday or Sunday, because those days... Okay. So on one of those 3 days expected, I'll give you an official date tomorrow, if I can figure it out.
No problem. So what I'll say is that since I won't say what's coming out on the 8th because by then it'll already be out, but for the 15th, we're starting our brand new series. It's a companion piece of theme park history. Don't expect anything crazy, but I think it's going to be a nice side project. At the end of the month, we're focusing on an attraction we kind of talked about for Disney. It's been something that's been highly requested. We're doing the theme park history of Expedition Everest.
Woo! Let's go!
So expect a lot about that, but I'm pretty sure expect a lot about the Yeti. There's going to be a lot about the Yeti and what's going on with that.
I want to know, because I have been dying to hear the history of that ride.
Listen, that ride is, in my opinion, the best at Animal Kingdom. It's probably in my top 5 in roller coasters in general. I've been waiting for a while, so I figured, you know what, get out of the way now. So we're going to be doing it at the end of the month. I think that video should be out the 22nd. So I think that's the last Friday of this month in February.
Awesome. So I will also, confirming, I am actually going to upload this. By the time this uploads, I will probably upload it for Friday. I'll have it done for Friday.
Okay, so that way, at least if when people are listening now, they know what's coming for the rest of the month. But that's basically what I got to say.
All right, so now that we took our little break, anything last-minute things before we get into the bonus topics?
Can't think of anything. I'm interested to see what the bonus topics are going to be about.
All right. There's only going to be 2 bonus topics. So the bonus topics here are 2. We're now going to dive into my realm. Technology.
All right.
We've done, obviously, theme park technology, but let's go straight technology. I want to see how you are. And then also the second one, we may touch on certain something, but it's still debatable. I don't know if I'll pull this off. But let's start off with technology for the first part. The first part is this. So I don't know if you're obviously an Apple user. You use Apple products. Now, guys, if you don't want to listen to this, I'll give you a time slot you could skip to where you could get my final thoughts if you don't want to listen to this. But you may want to stick around for it. But so you use Apple products, I assume, right?
I do.
Okay. Now, you have a Mac, an iPhone, and an iPad, maybe?
No iPad. Used to. A long time ago.
Okay. So, I want to ask you something. When you're using these products, and now that, I don't know what products you have, so if you don't mind me asking, what do you have?
So, I have the iPhone XS, and I have I want to say a 2016 MacBook Pro. I'm not sure if it's 2016 or 2015. No touch bar. So it has to be. It has to be before that.
Okay. So let me ask you something. Has there ever come a time when you feel like Apple has made it kind of weird, like if you wanted to switch out of them, that you kind of think to yourself, you're like, it's too hard, or you feel that it's going to take too much out of you?
What do you mean by switching? You mean like from an Apple product to a different brand?
To a different brand. For example, let's say you want to switch your phone over to a Galaxy or an Android. Let's be specific. An Android, because any phone you make will run Android. There's no other operating system. So let's say you want to switch to an Android. Now let's throw out of the hat the Galaxy. Would you be surprised? Wait, but here's the question. What would you expect to pay for a Galaxy if you were to switch from an iPhone to a Galaxy, and just throwing that out there in 2019?
What do they run for? The new Galaxies run for what, like $850, $750, I guess?
A little lower now. A little lower because they're going to make new ones. But, well, I'm going to tell you something. If you were hoping that Samsung would be the savior for not making expensive products, oh boy, we're all doomed. We are all doomed. So apparently, this is what I'm getting into. So there's been a rumored leak, and I'm getting into my tech zone now. This is where the tech comes out in me. But there is a release date, price, and specs rumors leak chart that came out showing off the Galaxy S10, S10 Plus, and the S10 budget device that they're going to compete with. They have all released the prices, and I don't know what they're thinking. I'm just going to read you the prices. So,
okay.
Obviously, these will have top-line specs, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage, and it will also, most of them can be configured up to 512 gigabytes, 8 gigabytes, 10 gigabytes, and, of course, 12 gigabytes. It depends on what they decide to configure it to, but these are the options of RAMs a phone can go for. Now, here is what they're calling the S10e. The S10e. Are you kidding me? Trying to kind of be original here. This is their budget device. Now, keep in mind, this is in pounds, or euros. I'm sorry, euros. So you're going to have to do a configuration. So, yes, smart idea. Pull out the phone.
Get the phone. Get out my iPhone. Get ready to ask Siri to convert.
So the S10 Lite, as what they're calling it, with a 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128, will go for 749 euros. In American dollars, that is?
You said 749 euros?
Yep, that's correct.
850.
Okay, that's for the budget version. That's their budget version.
Budget, Jesus.
Then their Galaxy S10 will be £929 for a 6 gigabyte 128 model S10 regular.
That's going to be $1,055.48, not including tax.
Now, then they have another one for £1,179 for an 8 gigabyte 512 gigs. That's about 13 almost.
We say 1,179.
£1,179. Euros.
Sorry, 1,339 in dollars.
And now comes the mother load, the Galaxy S10 Plus. The highest spec one that will run 12 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage will cost an eye-whopping €1,599.
That's 1816. Holy crap.
So I'm going to ask you, have we gotten to that point where everything we pay for is $1,000? Would you, an Apple user, where Apple does the same thing, does this justify companies to kind of push $1,000 on consumers for a phone?
Well, listen, my only justification is saying if they're charging that much, they better have the headphone jack in those Samsung phones.
They actually will. They say they were going to remove it, but then they found a way to keep it, supposedly.
So I guess for some people, $1,800 is worth it because they get to keep their headphone jack. Because that's been like, you've heard that debate with anyone that's an Apple user.
You gotta have it. I'm sorry though, but I don't see any justifications, and I'll explain. Now, the Galaxy S10 and S10 Plus will be the big phones. They're going to have 2 front-facing cameras with that little hole punch. You can look it up for yourself. You've seen the leaks if you have. And it's going to have 3 camera layout in the back. You'll have an in-display fingerprint scanner and, of course, a better display. So you get more bezel-less, no notch. And see, this is what I'm saying. I'm glad that industry makers are trying to get away from what Apple did with the notch. I hate the notch. I don't know if it bothers you, it bothers me, but I'm glad that they are able to find ways to not have a notch on a phone. It's called a hole punch. Mm-hmm. But my problem is they're thinking that they're Apple now. They think that they can charge these prices. Like, my argument is, did Samsung not learn what happened to Apple? With all the stock pricing drop, with all the consumers not switching, the low decrease of sales, like, I don't know what they're thinking. Like, do they think people will dish $1,000 for a phone?
I think they're hoping that because they're not Apple, and they're like, look, we're Samsung, we're Android, we're different, that it's going to still convince people otherwise. But like you said, it's not about what you have, it's about how much it is. And those prices that we just went through, they are expensive. They're more money than some laptops you can buy. And I get it. There's some stuff in there that laptops can't do, or even the phone might be a little bit powerful than a laptop. But even when I was looking at the new phones that I wanted to upgrade for the iPhone, I was like, am I really willing to spend $1,000 on this? It seems ridiculous, you know? You could buy a used car at some of these phone prices, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Hence, it's not going to be a very good car. But the point being, when did a mobile device that's the size of our hand, a little bit bigger now, end up being this expensive? So I don't know what Samsung is thinking. And I don't mind the specs. I always appreciate that they're willing to do that. I always said it, with the Samsung phones, the biggest drawback is Android. It's their operating system.
They need to make their own. They really need to.
They need something like that because they don't update as often. You get one major update, and that's it. Or better yet, you buy a phone, and then, according to Android, in 2 years, it's obsolete and can't make these updates anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So and I hate to say it, too, depending on your carrier, there's a lot of bloatware. There's a lot of stuff that you don't need on your phone. Mm-hmm. At least when you buy an iPhone, you can delete anything that Apple originally installed. Mm-hmm. So, and the irony in my household for the longest time, I was the only one with an Apple product. So they're like, always, my parents, my sister are showing me their stuff, and I'm like, I can't help you. I don't know how an Android works. I have an iPhone. But now everybody in my household, after a couple of years, they've slowly transitioned over to Apple. Mm-hmm. So it just shows you that, yes, when it first started, Android was pretty good. Samsung was pretty good, but pricing, product, and just, the operating system itself is kind of, I think, pushed people away. But, I agree. Like you said, some people they don't like Apple. It's just like Disney and Universal. They pick a side and they stick with it. And, they'll stick with that until the end.
Yeah. But I don't think that's sensible, though, to make a phone like $1,000. Like, if you wanted to spend that on a computer and stuff, I'll be like, okay, fine. But you gotta remember, though, phones don't last as long as computers can. My uncle's MacBook, he bought in 2007. And it still runs like it's brand new. It's 12 years old. That thing is built to last. A phone generally will last you 3 to 4 years. Sometimes maybe more because Apple is now built... Sorry. Sorry. They're actually making the phones more built to last for longer. So I appreciate that because you're giving people... that kills their own market because, that makes them not switch. But hey, you pay for what you get. But the thing with Samsung is, like you said, they don't support updates often. They don't have their own operating system, although they're making a skin. They're making that skin, but it's still going to be Android. They made their own thing, like Samsung Docks, like you seen they did. That could be a game changer, but I'm sorry, but just like the iPhone XS and XS Max, I think that Samsung is just going to suffer if that's their prices. I really, really hope that they're not pricing it at that point.
Listen, you got to ask yourself, what's the next Fortnite skin they're going to bundle with the phone in order to get people to buy it?
Oh yeah.
So, but I agree with you. There's a lot there, and I don't know why the price of these phones. I get it. The technology's there. Let's make it better and faster. but yeah, phones lasted longer, and there's not really a market.
Mm-hmm.
I got my phone from Sprint. I traded in my iPhone S, my 7S, and they gave me the XS for free. I'm with them for 2 years. Yeah, I know it's Sprint, but that was the deals they were running at the time.
They
because
still
they couldn't
run them
move.
sometimes.
They did. They couldn't move the phones. Now Apple themselves runs these promotions where it's like, get the XR for $449 if you trade in your iPhone with us.
Yeah, that's their new thing. They're trying to bank on trade-ins now.
Yeah, and they never ever offer those type of deals with any phone. So
they never, and they're giving you double. If you have an iPhone 10, you get more for the trade-in value because they are so desperate. They need the sales.
What I remember reading when they announced the XS and the XR was, my X is really good. I have no incentive to update for what? A little bit better, a little bit faster? I know they try to bank on like every 2 years so somebody's deal's over, but you don't see that anymore. And like you said, there's such a market for the pre-owned phones that people think the 7, the 8, and the X, they're not worth the upgrade to the XS and the XR. Yeah. So for Apple, it'll be interesting to see when their next phone comes out, if they're going to skip a year or they're going to keep pushing this. And for Samsung, I think they're going to find out real hard whenever the new phone comes out that they ain't going to be that much of a market unless there's like a deal that's really worth the price. Because then we also talk about phone deals. No more like you get a discount because you had a 2-year deal with the company you're with. You buy your phone outright now and you pay it off in monthly increments. So, yes, you own your phone, but you're kind of not getting any discounts when you buy it anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you're right. And something is, I think that they're like the reason they're also doing this, like with all these specs and stuff. They're trying to compete with China because China right now has a big market. Like that's where all the sales are going to. The phones in China are so much better. Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, things like that. So Samsung's got to be like, look, we can't take on Apple, but we got to take on the competition because Apple, we know in America people pick ours over Apple because we have a better screen and stuff. But we got to take on the competition. So now they're doing things like including stuff called Galaxy Buds, which are basically earbuds for them, like Galaxy Buds, whatever. They're just doing these things because Huawei's doing it. They're going to do things that Huawei can do, backwards wireless charge, things like that. So it's interesting to see how the competition, things have changed in just such a short amount of time. But I don't think $1,000 will justify it, even if you're a sane person. Like if you do like a monthly contract, that's different. You're not paying $1,000, but over time you will be paying that $1,000 regardless.
Yeah.
So I really hope that one day we could look back at this and be like, remember those times when the phones cost $1,000? Those were the good days. But
we're gonna say, man, I wish there was still $1,000, not $3,000.
Oh my God! I really hope that never happens.
Don't worry. Apple will be like, look, the screen now is 4K. You can record in 4K. You don't even have to do anything. You say your voice. I'll come up with something new every time.
Well, that's the thing, though. They have to start coming out with things new. I think if people just see things that are new, then they'll switch. That's why people are putting 3 cameras on a phone, 4 cameras on a phone. Yeah. That's why they're doing things, because if they look different, then people will be like, oh, that's something different. Then we can switch to it, because the smartphone industry is decreasing. Even though we could blame Apple, it's not their fault. Everybody's just not buying a new phone.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, and I say this, I don't even know what the next innovation for a phone would be. Like, what would be the next big thing? You already got Face ID, you had fingerprints, like you said, you got multiple cameras on the back of your phones. What could be the next big thing, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned it even earlier, to put everything in full circle. AR is the next big thing for Apple, but is that going to move the market? Is that going to have people running out, putting the pre-orders in and waiting outside for their phone? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. The event is on February 20th. I will be covering that event. I'll be doing that. So if anybody out there is interested, check it out. And that goes for you if you ever want to check it out. And the last topic, again, relating to tech. But I think this could also be impacting not just industry phones, but also the way we do at parks. 5G. So 5G has been on the rise now, with AT&T promoting that fake 5G, 5GE, that's been proven it's not 5G. But companies like T-Mobile and Sprint merging together to work on 5G. Then Verizon saying, oh, we already have it, but they don't show anything. Everybody's trying to get to 5G. But the thing is, these phones aren't ready to support it yet. But here's the thing. If 5G does come out and it becomes this giant, this massive new thing, just like 4G, LTE, and stuff like that, I gotta ask. Because they're saying 5G can replace internet. Like, it can replace cable internet, like Wi-Fi internet. It can replace it because that's how fast it is. Depends on your data rate, too. But if 5G comes out and let's say they start to spread them into the parks of Universal and Disney, do you think that will benefit the technology they have there? Do you think it will benefit the customers? Or what could they do with that kind of power?
Well, I think it benefits the customers more than anything else, because I don't know how the 5G would affect attractions. At least off the top of my head, I can't.
Maybe the speed of, like, let's say they get something online or something to, like, send over a wavelength, maybe to get the data faster, to, like, make it more. Because with 5G, if you have faster internet, you can display things at a faster rate. So, like, for example, you have a 120 hertz screen, and you can only get it rendered down for so much. With 5G, it speeds it up. You get the full 120.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah. See, that's the part of the tech I'm not 100% on.
Don't worry,
you know that more than I do, so that's good. But for the customer, I think that would benefit, because then, we've seen it with Disney. I mentioned that they have your own band, right?
Yeah.
So you can update that quicker. With Universal, they have an app where you can check the times and stuff. So take your photo at these special kiosks and everything with the passes they have. So if you have faster internet, you can make that more accessible instantly to the guests and the customers themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, you can make it more immersive. Like you mentioned with Volcano Bay and their wristband, the Tapu Tapu. I think that's the name. I'm not 100% sure.
So.
But if you have that technology, you can incorporate more to make a more customizable personal experience for your guests. Because you're not relying on a slower internet connection. You have something that can supposedly move faster and make it feel like everything's just happening in the snap of your fingers. Mm-hmm. Right? Up-to-date information right there in the palm of your hand. So I can see it. I will only say this, because of where I live. I have seen so many protests against 5G, though, because they haven't done enough studies. Supposedly they say there's a chance it could lead to cancer. Again, it's all being studied right now, but I agree with you where it's the next big step, but I've seen so much backlash against it that I don't know if any of that's actually true, if it's just people being paranoid, like, microwaves can give you cancer. Yeah, but how many people use a microwave to cook their food,
Yeah, and how many people are going to put their head in a microwave?
Yeah, so, again, I've heard enough about it. I look forward to it, because if you say it's just as fast as my internet connection, that might lead to some people saying I don't need an internet connection in my house anymore. But again, they got to roll it out. They got to make sure that it doesn't run into problems. And, depending on where you live, you might got dead zones and all that other stuff. So I look forward to it. I still think we're like 4 years away from it, like being fully implemented with these, these cell phone companies.
Yeah, I agree too. I can definitely see it being a key factor in the parks with the technology of streaming the videos for the customers in true resolution, getting all that quality. I can also see being also for the app, so the app doesn't have to lag or stay up and everything. I can see that. And also, I think 5G could probably just be the internet for the park. They figure out a way to use 5G in a box, spread it out as a Wi-Fi hotspot, boom.
Mm-hmm.
So
and like you mentioned, you want to bring AR to these parks, right? Mm-hmm. You have that type of network there. You never have to worry about it crashing. You never have to worry about an overload. So, again, it goes with the technology is very promising, but it still seems like it's in its baby steps.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's it. Well, that's it for everything. Well, before we go, I do have one last thing I want to say before we close out the show. And this is a personal message that I kind of just came up with a little while back that I wanted to write out to Theme Park History. This is for you, man. So this isn't a speech, but this is just something I've been wanting to tell you for a long, long time. First off, I do want to say thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
If anything, you've influenced a lot of people. So much so that I think your influence has kind of gone a little too far, because this guy over here will probably watch your confrontation video. I'm going to show it to you guys. I'm showing him.
No.
This guy is reminiscing. Watch what he does.
God.
Just watch real fast. Look at this. I think this man has been smoking too much on confrontation. Big Jack, man. Come on, what are you doing?
Oh, my God.
Look at this. He's touching
some
the
people
wall.
are very dedicated.
Very dedicated. He actually kissed the wall, but they.
Okay. Well, that's a little bit too dedicated.
We're not going to show that, but still, that was just for a joke. But seriously, though, listen. I know you've only been on YouTube for 2 years, but in the 2 years that I've watched you, you have been a phenomenal YouTuber. I've been there since you started. I remember your first videos, and it has been amazing. And for a while, I've always looked at you as kind of the the main reason why I want to push myself to better. You're kind of one of the examples I could say who influenced you to kind of grow. And I would say 3 people. You would be number 1, a couple of other people, obviously, but you are the number 1 because of your quality and production that you have done your videos. And I've watched and I listened to your audio quality, and I try to do that with me. And I says, I got to grow, and he shows. And you have kind of helped influence me with how I film my videos in 4K, get the best audio, lighting, display, editing. And it's because of you, you've made a big influence on me. You've also been a big influence when I go to theme parks. I said this at the beginning, you've made me had so much appreciation. Even the tiniest little detail in a ride makes me really appreciate it more and more. Because when I go to a theme park, you don't really think about it. You don't really care. You're just like, oh, we're going there for fun and stuff. Who cares? But you know the history, the idea, when you get to go there and you tell people and you get to share it, it makes you feel more appreciative of the person that told you this and knowing it, because it makes you really appreciate every little thing around you. And I think that that's the thing that stood out with you and why I really appreciate things that you do on YouTube. And, you know, I know you say you don't classify as a big YouTuber, but to me you do. And you're a great YouTuber. Because most big YouTubers, they don't like to reach out to other YouTubers. Some big ones will be like, we don't need help. But even at 39,000 subs, you're still an amazing YouTuber. I could see you hitting 100,000 subs and I'll be there the whole way. And the point I'm trying to make is that you are an amazing YouTuber. And I am truly humbled that you have given me a chance to allow, for the first time ever, probably one of my big YouTube idols in recent years. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. I was a kid once. I used to do a lot, but like nowadays I look at YouTube, it's not in a good state. YouTube is kind of different. There are very few YouTubers I could say that I really wish that I could talk to and interact with. You just so happen to be in the number 1 spot. And also another YouTuber, but we're still working that out. But the point that I'm trying to make is you and a handful of others are people that I've really wanted to interact with, because you guys are the reason that I do YouTube, and you guys are the reason that you give me inspiration to keep going and care for your fan base. So I want to just say right now, thank you. Thank you for pretty much just making me enjoy going to the theme park. Thank you for making me enjoy listening to a history video, because I'm not really that, and I know I sound a little different. I know it sounds crazy, but dude, thank you. You are an amazing, great, humbled YouTuber. You're an amazing person, and I'm never going to stop watching you.
That is one of the nicest things I have ever been told in general. So thank you for that. YouTube idol is not something I've ever imagined I'd ever be called. There's been a lot of things I've already been called on YouTube in the comments section. Not that.
Well, let me explain why I say YouTube idol. Because when you describe things, when you talk about things, and when you give it down to the viewers, you don't ever be like, compromise. You just lay it all out there. It's facts. It's information. But you do it in a way where it's not half-assed, but you've also give it down to where people understand. And the key with you is interaction. And I like that a lot, is you're able to interact with your subscribers. You are able to give the viewers what they want. And most of all, you're able to deliver on your promise for making videos. And the thing with me is like, I go to Universal and stuff, and every time I'm there, I just pop on one of your videos when I'm on a ride and just listen to it. And I know it sounded crazy, YouTube idol. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't really have big favorites anymore. When I was a kid, I had tons. They're all gone. So who do I have left to really say are my favorite YouTubers? I only have 5.
Well, you listen, I appreciate that. And I tell people, like, listen, I'm just a guy who enjoys making videos. I enjoy the theme parks just as much as you do, you know? Mm-hmm. And again, if I said it in my Q&A video, if I never received the gift from my sister, I don't know if I'm ever making these videos, because it was just out of curiosity to realize that the parks I grew up with, none of the attractions are there anymore, and they're not really justified on YouTube, or, you know, there's no information on it in a presentable form.
Yeah.
So, you know, and for you, I'll tell you this: just keep working at it. Listen, when I started, I had no clue what the hell I was doing. You know, the audio wasn't the best. I was stuttering. My speeches for the videos weren't that great, and I didn't think the quality was that good. You learn as you go. You know, it's been, like you said, almost 2 years. We've been doing it. You learn what you're good at, And they always say, I think you need 10,000 hours to finally be good at a hobby or a skill. It's the same thing.
I hit that almost every week, believe it or not.
Yeah. You guess, again, it's working on it. And then, for me, and you know how YouTube is, it's a little bit of luck.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of luck. One of our videos, I think it was E.T. or Jaws, it got pushed into the algorithm. It got suggested to some bigger channels. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, we've just been on a trend. But I tell this to you. I tell it to anybody who feels the same way. Thank you. It really is a humbling experience to hear that. Because I never imagined I'd be influencing people that way.
You have. And you know something? That's what I hope to give back when I watch and I make videos. Because I know there's people out there that are like me, that like to listen to both sides of an argument and kind of be in the middle, to hear both sides and distinguish what is honest. Because when I do tech videos, and I don't want to make this the whole thing because I want to get this out of the way, but like when I do it in a way where I want to interact with the YouTubers. I want to interact with people. Because I know people probably think similar or different, and I just want to give what I have to say, but in efforts to make them speak up. To show you don't have to be afraid to say what you want to say. You shouldn't be held back by people threatening or calling you names. Just because someone calls you names doesn't mean it should stop you. Like, the tech community is not... I'm not saying they're terrible at all, but they're not the most friendliest, especially with this division. But I come in and I just want to let people know, do not be afraid to say what you want to say. If you have something to say, you say it. Don't even be afraid to censor out. It's your opinion, and most of all, you shouldn't be afraid if somebody tells you otherwise.
Yeah, listen, if everybody was afraid to say what they had in their mind, YouTube wouldn't exist because you'd be worried about it, And I say to people, people have asked me, I want to do this. I want to create my own YouTube channel. What's the best advice? The first step, do it. If you never do it and then somebody takes your idea down the line and you go, oh my God, that's what I wanted to do. Well, if you never did in the first place, that you have that regret. Yeah. And listen, if you do it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, and it doesn't work out, at least you can say, well, I tried, I gave it my all, it didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, we're at 39,000. That doesn't, to me, numbers, at this point, exactly. To me, it doesn't matter. It's just, when I put the video out, and I have the time, I go through the comments, and I see what people say. Yeah. And when I see that people they're happy, they enjoyed the video, they really liked it, and they leave me a suggestion for what's coming, what they want to see next. That's what matters to me, the engagement. Yes. Seeing that people are actually enjoying the videos. It's one thing to put stuff out there, it's another to know that people are actually enjoying it. And that's what I always try to stress. I spend all this time on the videos to try to make sure they're as good as quality as possible. And half the time I put them out and people really like them, I always say, that could have been better. That could have been better. This part could have been better. I could include this. But that's just how I want to be because I have enough people that support the channel like yourself. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the best I can.
Yeah. And I guess that's the same way with me because whenever I make a tech video, I don't care about subscribers. I'm happy that what I've got. I'm not looking to be 1 million subscriber. I'm not even looking to be 100,000 subscriber. I just want to reach 1,000, and I want to tell you why. Because when I reach 1,000, I'm able to finally put comments to send to my subscribers and interact. That's all I want. It's just to interact with subscribers, and that's all I care about. I don't care whether or not my video gets a dislike or like. Hey, at least they interact. They tell me if they don't like something, I can always fix it and move on. That's what I go for, like you. And I think we have a lot of similarities. But you're obviously more experienced. You've got more knowledge than me. But the thing is, like, you and me, it's compelling. It's kind of weird that we have some similarities going. And I really love the interaction. I love to talk to people. And most of all, I love to, like, influence people, like, help people. Whenever they feel like, oh, I don't know what to think or what am I doing. Like, I just like to influence, not influence, but, like, I like to help give advice.
Listen, the best thing you always can is talk to people. Because you know what? At the end of the day, they realized, hey, they took the time to respond to what I said, or in this case, they took the time to spend some time speaking about theme parks. It doesn't hurt anybody at the end of the day. It's always the little things that count. And like you said, you want to reach out to people, you want to build a community. That's the easiest way. You just reply to a comment, and then it could start to something better. Look at this. You reached out to me on Twitter. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And here we are. Yeah. So it's the little things that count.
Yeah.
And it can lead, like you said, it can lead to something else. It can inspire you to want to become something. And, you never know. You might become big.
Gotcha. Well, I hope and pray that's the dream. But I'm never going to cut myself short. I'm going to keep working hard. And most of all, I'm going to try my best to influence others. And you know something? At the end of the day, numbers are numbers. But as long as you get the interaction and you get the support, that's all that matters.
Yeah, like I said, it's nice to know people are watching the video. But at the same time, it's better to know that people actually enjoyed the videos you make.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yes. Well, we're out of time. We really did this long. 2 hours and 18 minutes. That's a record for me.
Sorry about that.
No, of course not. Listen, dude, I want to say this was a fun experience. I'm glad you heard me out at the end when I said what I had to say. I've been holding that back for almost a year now, so I just wanted to say it. But listen, it was an honor and a privilege, and I want to tell you right now, I don't have much YouTube friends, but I'm hoping with you, me, we could be friends, and maybe we could do this again sometime in the future. You are obviously a great YouTuber. You got a lot going for yourself. I know you're probably busy, but as long as I can have somebody that I can ask for advice, you seem somebody that can help out. I know that out there somewhere we can probably be good friends or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I just met you, but you are a very nice person, and you are very caring, and obviously the content you make is great.
Listen, I enjoyed this. If you ever want me back on, you just give me enough heads up and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to. I tell my guests all the time, if you'd like to come back, you are more than welcome to.
So I'm constantly fine with that. And like I said, I told you before this, if you have any questions with the YouTube thing, I can try to help you out. That's it. Right. I'm always willing, because when I first started, it was the same way. I was asking people for help, and they were willing to help me. So you pass it forward.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I know this was the longest one I ever did, so if anybody out there that actually stayed and watched the whole thing and didn't skip, you deserve yourself a medal. Congratulations to you. But listen, guys, thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. This took a lot out of us to plan. It was timing and everything, but listen, I want to say thank you to Theme Park History for coming out. This was an honor once again, and again, I hope we can do this again sometime in the future where we could discuss more and more. But that's it. Gonna do it. So closing out the show, you got any last things you want to say?
No, just once again, it was a great pleasure, and thank you for having me.
All right. Well, you guys have a great night. Again, subscribe to Theme Park History. All of my subscribers that watch this, please definitely go over to his channel, hit the subscribe button. He is really a great YouTuber, and you will not regret it. So that's going to do it. Thanks for listening, and have a great night, everybody.